Welcome, everyone, one and all, to EUSL Season 4 Tiebreakers. We shrunk the league this season, and this was the inevitable consequence. We've got 4 out of the 6 teams. Every single team involved in the playoff is locked in some sort of standings-based tie through the regular season. So this had to happen. In this particular series, we've got 3rd and 4th place in the regular season squaring off. Wildcards v Lockdown. What they're playing for in this instance is, provided that these two teams run into each other in playoff bracket, whoever wins this tiebreaker will win the pre-match coin flip against the other team. So, huge stakes here to kick off I guess the evening. Clarion Corp test chamber, we're seeing the cards ban the Atlas, meaning Slav's going to have to go pick another lockdown, I guess, and Zentaro being locked first pick for the wild cards off of the Explo.
Yeah, as you said, Atlas gone. I think that seeing as this Zentaro's first pick by wildcards, I mean, of course, it's very strong here on the explosive entrance damage, and Locker kind of mirroring that, although I do suspect this is possibly a Brawler Vice pick coming for Scythen. Maybe it's a bit of a flex, but I don't think it's going in the net, that's what I'll say. They lock in the Amy as well, so yeah, I think this is probably Amy midfield and then Vice in the net. And then we see more of this wildcards comp. I was going to say that Lockdown possibly could have picked up the Drek because I think it's quite good into Zentaro. It has a very strong defensive matchup into him. But Sloth has plenty of other options here. I think might just want to pick the Dubu that was quite successful, even though they lost against Vas in their previous series. It was looking quite good for them. Maybe he wants a bit more damage here. Maybe something like the Finny. But just go the Asher, yeah. Another defensive goalie. So we're seeing Drek and Asher in the nets here. And lots of damage available for both teams here. And I think it will be, it's going to be easier for Sloth to be pumping damage onto Ivy just by nature of how Zentaro is going to try and score compared to how this Vice of Scythen is going to try and score probably. Just not going to be within too much range to be able to hit him. But, I mean, Scythe and Shen, not really players. Oh, did we mention that, by the way? Shen is subbing in for Giovanni here in the midfield. So, yeah, I think Shen and Scythe are not exactly players known for pumping damage. And that might be disadvantageous to them on the start here, but they can certainly control the core. So we'll have to see who's going to get it done here.
Yeah, a bit of roster roulette here, but the wild cards running their main roster, meaning Shen is the only shakeup in that respect. Both teams now ready. Low key, I forgot to join the stream lobby, so I might have held us up, but now I'm here. So theoretically, there we go. The queue has been popped. We are getting into things in a timely manner, which does not happen every day of the week, so that's good to know. But yeah, we do see, what's it called? What are they called? The wild cards here on Blue Team to start out the series. Clarion Corp Test Chamber. I think, yeah, there's one team that looks a bit more poised to do damage here, but especially just given the play style of the two forwards, the two teams on display, rather. But we'll just have to see how things shake up. I'm glad I'm name off bug for everyone. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. I think outside of, the damage aspect, the Drake, I think, has quite a nice defensive matchup here into the enemy forwards. He can kind of turn his braid off when he wants to and just left click, right click, which I guess he can do often, but it's not like there's a super threatening shoving character in this game that he's going to have to contend with. And yeah, it is this Asher goalie, the only one picking Monu here. And we've got double six on the side of Lockdown, and then Mags in the midfield for Lucas, and the siphoning one for Ivy. So we're seeing the playstyle choice already, but that's not to say that they're not controlling the core already and finding two barriers rather rapidly, which is going to leave the Asher, I think, in a rather horrendous defensive situation.
Great mechanics by Scythen to alleviate the pressure. In the interim, though, there goes my Aimi Shen off the map, and Slav swinging and missing, meaning that he is going to ultimately lose the interaction there. To Ivy off of the Zentaro primary. Good conversion to start things off here for the wild cards. Quick point on Borg's bumper barn within 30 seconds. And here we go, heading onto the Atlas map.
Yeah, Ivy with a nice evade at the start there, but maybe not so nice as she's punished. Just didn't have a second one. I mean, probably had to dodge the Amy combo, but meant that Scythen was ready to punish, and maybe he's making me eat my words about saying that he's not good at playing for damage, but that nice stun from Lucas actually displaced Scythen enough for Nero to be able to get the outclear here, which means that they're not going to get both barriers off the power play, which of course matters more than anything, and Scythen actually the one who's being chipped quite low right now.
Oh man, that circle continuing to be ripped for chip damage. The glitch pop is unable to connect with Ivy, but Ivy still being forced out of the fray, has to play their life and run away from the onslaught of abilities that are currently packing top lane. All the while, we do actually see a bit of a reversal of the stakes here. It's actually Estelle who is knocked off of the map. Scythen kind of struggling to be in a position to contest and leverage the power play though, because if he gets into the action, he's probably next on the chopping blocks, is ultimately dropping back to get Orb. Sloth playing a bit of emergency brawler, but is unable to get into an opportune position to do just about anything. That said, continual threatening of the outclear by Shen, and a good shot to bot lane, followed up by Shen, but guaranteed by Sloth. So there we go. One apiece here on the set. Good flip by the lockdown goalie to even the scales here in game one.
Yeah, great rotations coming out, recognizing that Sloth had to be the one to walk up and using that flip to perfection there. Already so much damage has come out onto Nero. He does of course have his goalie orb, and it's actually Sloth in a bit of a rough spot, but has the Asher ult, but the Estelle beam actually just won against it, so barriers do drop, and Scythen and Shen both in precarious positions, I'd say. Shen has more evade and probably has a flip soon, but sometimes when you're getting chunked, the flip just means that you lost 2 evades. He does retain it, but Lucas able to find the goal with the blink alone, just making great use of the explosive entrance range there.
Man, the damage is coming thick and fast, and it's just going to get worse now that we've finally seen our first instance of the goop map. Ball being knocked into the bot lane goop, but neither forward opting to walk into it and brave it just yet. That said, we're already seeing Shen taken down to less than half health, has now been placed into the stagger state, meaning that Sloth and Scythen are going to have to work the double defense for the time being. Shen playing his life desperately, but it was just not to be. Sloth pushing up and perhaps overextending and getting punished, eating a lot of damage. Luckily still able to wriggle back to the orb in time to get some sort of health back on the board, but this is such a dicey situation. Scythen doing his best to cut past and contest these offenses, and does get the ball out of the back temporarily, and now it's actually Lucas's turn to die. Both teams smelling blood in the water, but neither can really find the converting blow just yet, meaning that we still persist in a 3v3, but I eat my words because Sloth is able to find a great kill off the Primary to establish the power play, and now looking to lay down a bit of pressure with that path splitter to get the second barrier, and this could be curtains, but a great strike shot out of Nero means we persist, and persisting just long enough to get Ivy the ball, who knocks it into bottom corner past Sloth, and put the wild cards rather up here in sets.
Yeah, I think Sloth was just kind of caught off guard by Ivy just letting it go through with her ult, and wow, she's so rewarded here with this catalyst. This awakening is so ridiculous, especially in a heavy damage game on a character like Zen, maybe the best user of this awakening in the game. And yeah, that's a rough one. Although, you know, Lockdown do have 2 right after, and they're gonna opt for the Spark and the Glass Cannon. Some nice picks, but you know, it's not like the rest of Lockdown have gotten bad things. They've got Missile Prop on Drek. I mean, a classic, and definitely going to help. I mean, if this guy was on Brawler, look at the build he has for all this damage. And, you know, it's more speed, and the timeless is quite nice for Shen, but I think that the side of wildcards are probably happier with this draft right now. Oh my god, he's dead.
Yeah, you can say that again. There we go. Good usage of the ult by Scythen continues to push the issue here, but the tandem defense of Ivy and Nero is enough to hold for now. That said, still, they're not looking to be in a particularly good way. Shen's glitch pop a little premature, though, meaning that neither team able to score just yet. A good out clear found by Nero to keep the ball away from the danger man, but Ivy's really unsuccessful in getting the ball out of the arc and is now looking to continue to see their health bars slowly being reduced, and more hitboxes are coming out the wazoo. That Zentaro is low-key dead as hell, but the catalyst value means that maybe at least they can go down flipping, but oh my god, absolute tempo reversal. It's actually a power play in favor of the wild cards now, but Scything's doing a good job to hold it down, meaning that Lockdown might still have their barrier at the end of this.
Yeah, and Sloth has a flip here, possibly going to get chipped down before he can use it, as might Scythen here too. But as long as they're stabilizing here, ultimately they do have both barriers up. Now, in terms of energy, Scythen really wants to be able to get up to having this flip that he's so close to and just use it for the offense. He's going to pop his ult just to get Ivy off him a bit of self-peel, and also mean that he is full on energy, tries to use it to get a kill on Ivy but unsuccessful, and as a result of that also their barrier is lost. Ivy flip, but Sloth young enough to counter that one, but still in a way worse defensive spot right now as the barrier has dropped. Awkward angle on the back foot there for wildcards, but they're doing fine just for now, and the ball is getting launched everywhere it can. Shen with a desperate turret attempt, but nothing found of it, and Scythen's a bit too low to play the edge anymore, so they're rotating. Nice find on the primary, but Lucas is able to shut it out, but Scythen with a great pass to himself, but he can't find another strike. Estelle Beam attempted here by Lucas, but nothing found still, and these defensive goalies are just locking it down so well. Shen trying to work through Ivy, but unsuccessful just yet. Scythen trying with an aggressive teleport, but can't find it. Lucas is taken low. Might need to be careful here and be unable to facilitate the offense as he's been trying. This is a nice turret setup here, and lots of damage has come out on both of the midfielders, but still, how is nothing happening? Everyone is low, everyone has no cooldowns, but still, these goalies are holding.
You would think that like EUSL was on the line here. We're given how doggedly these teams are holding in this particular point. It just keeps goddamn going. There we go. Probably the contender for longest point of the season there. We're saving the best for last, I guess. But eventually, the point does go the way of the wildcards after much time and effort. Everyone is now pushing level 5 or level 6. There was a lot of touching the core, but we're maybe looking to a return to normalcy here, hopefully.
Yeah, and that one has to be rather, mentally draining, to go through a long, drawn-out war in a single point and come out the loser. Can't be very nice. But Scythen with an attempt here does have the flip advantage now into the enemy goalie, but of course is taking a lot of damage here. And Ivy looking for his head right now. He's going to teleport. A great play there by Scythen. Oh my god, finds the stun. Didn't even need to flip. Going to pop it now, looking for a shot on the bottom, and nearest strike shot is not enough. I mean, Scythen played that point so insane. He found the stun on the goalie, was able to ult to get the barrier and conserve the flip, and then just got it done. Super well played.
Good piece of individual play there. Scythen in general has been pretty locked in this series so far. Was going to have to definitely continue to that effect, given that Shen's pretty low. Might have to be another solo performance on the docket. That said, Shen looking to take the ball up and away. Sloth being forced to blow the flip into the path splitter. That should buy a decent amount of time and deny the space, meaning that this power play is not going to be too effective, especially Scythen once again beast moding, 1v1ing, and taking both of Nero's barriers. So that is good to see. And now Sloth able to find the pass downwards through to Shen, but Shen having a bit of trouble shoving it through, opting to blow the ult to just usher that ball forward past the midfield stripe, and now we are seeing an offensive play in favor of Lockdown, but they just can't get it through. Their positions keep being broken down by all the damage coming their way. Now Sloth having to contest in corner. All the while we're seeing kills traded like Pokemon cards. We're up to 2, down to 2 apiece. I'm not even sure how one person died. I only saw Scythen dying off the top, but yeah, it does mean that we're just going to keep going for a little bit here in this point.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas not gonna be happy with himself with that dash because he just kind of walked into the Asher ult and died, and he did have a flip, and I'm pretty certain Wildcards had 3 flips going into this. Although they might not, it might not matter that they've lost all those if they manage to get it done. But still, I mean, Sloth finding another kill has got 2 so far in this point. But Lucas manages to get the ball through this bottom side here, looking for something through Siphon, but it's a tall order, trying to get it through this Vice, and Siphon just with the excellent strikes finds it to Shen, who's perfectly positioned to punish that one, and they slot it in the bottom side, and I think that's a tilting one for wildcards there. They had, as I said, 3 flips going to the start of that, and 2 deaths coming out at the hands of Sloth, just kept them out of the play there. Oh my god.
That is a really quick death, to say the least. That was within 4 seconds. Within 10 seconds,
Is
both of the
Zentaro weak?
Slav forwards are both of Slav's forwards are gone, but Slav's saying, F you guys, I'm gonna just take both of your barriers anyway. Crazy beast mode flip, to say the least, but might be paying the price for his hubris with his life. There he goes, bye-bye. But I guess his effort was not in vain, because there still is a gate advantage in favor of Lockdown, but they have been robbed of their second one, wrested away from them, meaning that this is their point to lose. But they do hold great clear found by Scythen to keep the lockdowns alive here in this point. The Path Splitter forcing the members of the Wildcards to respect Wall, but respecting their life is currently Shen, who's just not looking too good, has been systematically removed from this game. I mean, just look at the level disparity between him and Sloth, for example. Definitely one member of Lockdown eating the brunt of this damage here to start things off, but we are heading into overtime, so we'll see if any more kills are going to be what's required to break the deadlock here.
Yeah, possibly a repetition of that monstrously long point we saw previously. But as of right now, it's Siphon the one on the back foot. Usually, as you mentioned, it is Shen. He looked for an aggressive dash there, but unable to find it. He do have 2 goalies in the net here, but Siphon was staggered, so had to play rather cautiously. Ivy the one going to be staggered now, though. But that's all of Sloth's cooldowns blown. He does have flip to his name, though. And Siphon with some nice dribbles and strike wars. They're trying to move the ball up. Sloth forced to flip, though, as the ball is launched back into their hearth, and Ivy, the one with all the energy now, has the catalyst, of course, but Lucas, however, is quite low still. A nice evade would have been the end of him, but a great shot, making great use of the catalyst energy to the top side, and I think that point was basically all Ivy. I don't know, at the start of the game, she solo killed both of the enemy forwards, and then a bunch of things happened, and then she scored.
Brilliant individual play. It's really a tale of the 2 brawlers here as far as this game is concerned, at least this first set. Oh, it's the second set, I guess. It's felt like set 1. But in any case, speaking of kills, there goes another one. Great controlling of the space by Shen with that turret, though, to buy Lockdown some time to get their personnel back on the board. Slav able to just about get on the end of that ball, holding his second barrier, meaning both goalies continue to persist with one apiece there on the diagonal. Shen trying to shove it through with Glitch Pop, but Lucas is patient and waiting, and Scythen is now trying to leverage that big orb power by looking for some kills off of the Vice secondary, not able to find anything. And now we're back into this bottom side J corner as both teams contest for possession, and possession is just seemingly very hard to come by when your forwards are in the staggered state. The ball now trying to be worked up the other side of the field. The bottom proved to be a losing endeavor. Losing their life is Scythen. I don't even know what happened. He just exploded, but now we have another power play. But Slav's doing his best to defuse the situation, but can't quite do so. Great path splitter, though, but who cares? Because absolutely reaction checked. Goalie on goalie violence. Crazy snipe. The German sniper, Nero, finding that Drakkar ult, slotting it past Slav, who's unable to react with flip.
Yeah, great use of the missile prop. Just the speed and the range just caught Sloth off guard, and he's been playing so well this game, Sloth. He's, I think he was the most XP in the lobby, of course, before everyone hit Omega. Was doing great, but as of these awakenings so far, the team player, very nice with the double, core control ranged midfielders. Although the peak for this Estelle is rather large in this game and has a pretty massive speed advantage. Of course, Scythen has 2 sparks with agility, but it's, it's still not as much as what Lucas has. And Shen, I think Berserker is honestly a pretty ridiculous awakening. I think Shen should just spam all his buttons. I think if Shen had just jumped on someone, they might have just blown up. But unfortunately, he was the one who had blown up in that case. And Sloth with a great strike, though. It's gonna break the barrier. I mean, how many times is Sloth just gonna find the perfect strike to break the barrier on this map? Such a great performance for him, offensively and defensively, I guess, even on playing the Asher, but his barriers do fall as he had no cooldowns remaining there. Scythen is the one being chunked, and once again, we've seen this flip and that strike before right to the top side from Ivy, and it's too much for an Asher with no strike shot, no range to deal with.
Definitely looking a little bit like Groundhog Day. I feel like that's the like you said, the exact way that point was won the last time we appeared on that map. Not to mention the ball spawned in the same place, so I guess history is frankly repeating itself here. Lucas is now up to flip, looking to use that eventually, but might have to flip for his life if he's unable to footsie around this Imi ult, but actually is able to do so, but does eat a couple residual turret bursts there at the end of things. But it's actually Scythen who's looking primed to die here. But really, it could. There's a lot of lockdowners who could die within the next couple seconds now that both of their flips have been burnt. Centauro pursuing, looking to lay down the pain onto Shen. Sloth trying to hit a bit of a get off me primary to buy Shen some much needed breathing room. But yeah, Ivy not even playing the game, but it's actually Ivy's teammate Lucas who's going to die here. That said, this offense maybe not sitting as pretty as you would have guessed given the stagger situation, but okay, never mind. Great conversion by Scythen there to get a great kill off of the ultimate and not even burn flip on the 2v3. So clinical stuff coming out of Team Lockdown to get another point on the board after a little bit.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Ivy, burned her flip trying to get the kill confirm onto Shen, and then just, had nothing left to live. And they got a really fortunate bounce out of the Vice ultimate to get the ball right back onto the offense. And speaking of offense, Shen and Scythen just cutting lanes, flying through the defense, and just making everything happen despite playing into Drek, who's become, as of late, a very meta defensive goalie pick here in Europe. So yeah, very nicely played out of characters that traditionally wouldn't maybe be able to get it done through him. Pass comes out off the flip here. They're looking for some more. I think Shen just was forced to use it out of health, but you got to consider that Shen has about 150 power, at his current level of stagger with this Berserker awakening, and is, gaining his cooldowns back very rapidly. And on a map like this, where
he's going berserk! He's going berserk!
Like, he can just sit on top of the lane so he's unkill confirmable and then dash someone. Like, it's broken. But great kill coming out and just clinical passes as well. And it's looking like Lockdown have locked in for these past couple points.
Man, yeah, Berserker value right there. Good stuff coming out of Shen and friends to get hella kills there and open up the rotations, which they do to great effect. Sloth able to find the down clear, the ultimate from Nero, not quite quick enough to catch the ball, and out is Damaged City up there in top lane as the Imi ult asks some difficult questions of Lucas. That said, Imi not in a particularly healthy state themselves. The flip is missed by Scythen and the stun doesn't even make good things happen, meaning that the ball slides back into the goal arc of Lockdown, and they do lose their first barrier in the process. But oh no, the griefed angle by Nero means it all comes crumbling down in quick succession. He loses the barrier off of the unfortunate ricochet off of that little corner nipple, and then yeah, once the barrier was down, just slid in right between the two gates, meaning that is a first Lockdown set on the board, and Scythen is being rewarded with the pick of the litter here.
Yeah, I mean, this game feels rather close for that being the first Lockdown pick here, or win rather. And it's going to be Bulk Up and Reptile traded. I think this is still rather, I mean, I wouldn't say unkillable because there's a lot of damage, but rather difficult to kill. Now, yeah, Shen with an absolutely necessary deny here of the fire up. Unfortunately, it means the Centaur is going to get Adren Rush, but it just has to be done. You cannot give the Catalyst fire up over. And Sloth gonna pick up that 1-2 punch. I mean, could be nice. Oh, that's a kill, and that's the Adrenaline Rush already for Ivy. She's zooming and looking to punish here, but Scythe and Sloth are locked in big monumentalist Asher ult coming out, and so far nothing has dropped on the defense, but that's Asher ult primary out, and unfortunately strike was wasted, and both barriers are now down, and Ivy has the flip,
Bang.
and yeah, it's all over.
Ooh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Zentaro doing Zentaro things, even without the fire up, is still able to just get flipped for fun. And the ad rush definitely helping to that effect. Good setup here in top lane. Slough red coring somehow. Did he take team player? Yeah, he
One
took team
two
player a
one two.
while ago. Wow, I didn't do my homework. But in any case, we do still see the side of Lockdown losing the first barrier here in this set. Slough having to contest with the dash, gets it through to Scythe, and he's able to just about sneak it through the back door, out, down and around Nero to even up the gate counts here. Good ultimate found to displace Sloth, and Ivy hitting it around him to take the second barrier. I mean, it's an all too familiar open net situation for this Asher, not to mention Ivy is poised to hit that top corner flip once again, has once again got the full stick of energy, and now Shen's kind of having to run away. Can't really contest the wall as much as he'd like because he's just poised to die should he do so. Scythe look very crazy angle off the back of the triangle, but it's not quite able to found. Instead, the core just goes straight vertical, meaning that the side of cards has some time to recuperate. They're finding their formation and building back up to stagger, slowly encroaching on the territory of Lockdown. The flip is coming out of Ivy, and Sloth doesn't flip. Sloth does not flip, meaning that the Zentaro dash will get the job done, and it is match point for the wildcards here in game one.
Yeah, and I think wildcards have maybe won that map variant every time it's come up. They've just been doing better, and once the barrier drops, it just becomes rather unplayable for the Asher, who can, if it's down, Sloth can walk up and try and contest and hold a lane by himself, but can't really. Now, speaking of maps that are won, though, I mean, I'm pretty sure Lockdown have been getting the better of this map recently in the sets. So, with their chances here, it's pretty good. Shen's kind of 1v2 on the offense as Sloth and Scythen were trying to kill Ivy, but it's actually Scythen who was almost killed. I think was actually saved by Lucas's blink, but Nero's holding everything right now, just locking it down. And Scythen walked into the ult, but was able to just walk out. I don't know how, but all good. Scythen goes where he pleases, I guess, until Ivy kills him. And Flip comes out in front of Asher, but you don't really want to flip in front of Asher. Did find a creative angle, but wasn't enough. Unfortunately, though, I think another Adren Rush pop is inevitable here. Maybe not, but it just looks rather doomed. Shen probably has to just try and blow them up here, I think, with the Berserker damage. Just spam his buttons. But yeah, I think Ivy's going to get the best of him in terms of finding a kill soon enough.
And Lockdown has to point this point to bed before Ivy gets another flip, but that's looking to be an impossibility at this point, especially getting the kill. The energy is almost there. There's the flip. Sloth is not able to win the interaction. Yes, I am not corrected there, but great patience on the second time of asking means that we persist in this point, but it is still a power play in favor of wildcards. But we do see Shen back on the map in a bit of a tricky situation managed by Nero there, and has missed another strike shot, meaning that the pressure keeps up in favor of Lockdown. They do get the flip out of this Drakkar. Things could get very hairy there if the possession is able to be maintained, but no possession, no problem. Brilliant angle found by Scythen to hit it up and around the flipless Nero to buy wildcard a bit more time in this series, but they still have so much work cut out for them. They got to win 2 more to stay in things.
Yeah, the team player 1-2 punch for Sloth was doing a lot of work there, just making Nero sweat, making him use those cooldowns. And yeah, just getting the ball up to Scythen, and then Shen, of course on the Amy, just covering, the pass with hit stuns or covering the outclear meant that they had to play through Scythen, and it's not something that any team really wants to have to do. Now Scythen, speaking of him, does have flip, opts to pop it there, maybe wanted to avoid damage and get some out onto Ivy, but I think they need to find these kills onto her because she's almost got a flip. I mean, with the catalyst, she's a couple hits off it, but right now so much movement speed coming off of Shen's fire up flip there, and damage pumped onto everyone. This is a variant where you can play your life rather nicely, and oh my god, Berserker knockback is ridiculous. But Yeah, I mean, the Berserker can't live forever as Lucas finds the kill. He does have Flip available to him soon enough, but we'll have to get the ball through Scythen, who's looking for the dribbles for the plays by himself. Stalls long enough for Shen to be able to get back up and back into this game.
Oh, and no, what an unfortunate way to lose your berry. And it goes from bad to worse. The turret doing God's work and then some, tapping at top corner. Nero unable to answer. And it does mean we are here still on match point, but now also set point and lockdown, looking to have some momentum. But I do not think this is their map, given the way the damage has been distributed in this series. That said, Lucas ripping the flip for no gain means that this midfielder will not be sitting pretty as the pressure continues to be worked up along the top lane. Sloth trying to force the issue, is continuing to find those up and out clears. And now Lucas has been forced into the goop. Things could get dicier, but Sloth missing the dangle, meaning that that flip doesn't perhaps extract as much value as he would have liked. But a great reaction off of the flip by Scythen is snubbed out by an equally great reaction off of the second flip by Nero and friends, meaning that the energy economy for Team Lockdown is so bad, and it goes from bad to worse because somehow the Path Splitter is not being a save there, and we've got a Zentaro threatening in open goal with flip, but okay, what the hell? Go Scythe and score. Never mind, don't score. But now this is such a scary situation. Ivy might be forced to flip here. The panic flip does come out, does outlast the turret, and now Shen is looking low, but can they just land the plane before Scythen dies? It's looking improbable, especially with that brilliant TP out of Lucas, who respawns and gets right in the mixer in the stead of their brawler and lands the plane here in a 3-1 to take the first game of this series in favor of the Wildcards.
Wow, I mean, so many of these points you could break down what happened for minutes, maybe hours. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of that, I think Lucas would have been kicking himself if they had lost that point because he flipped for something. Maybe he thought he was the one with fire up. Spoiler, he wasn't. So he did just kind of flip for fun, but they got it done off of his play there to the net. And unfortunately, I felt like Shen could have struck the ball. When they were trying to save their final barrier. Now I don't know, maybe it was a bit of when you respawn, you're a bit locked out for like half a second, and it was just not enough. But yeah, unfortunate for them, and they were mounting the comeback. They had won the last set, and they were building up some momentum. But yeah, as you mentioned, that map was not very fun for them. And looking at the stats here, we see about 50 and a bit damage on both the brawlers here, but we've got 11 kills to 7 coming out for Ivy here, who did so much damage. And I think that honestly, the Catalyst first, first pick on maybe it was set 1, might have won them the game possibly. That awakening on Zentaro, just having it undeniable, was giving them so much value. Ivy was very hard to kill, already a slippery character, but with infinite evades now. And when they weren't able to find the punishes onto her, she was able to find either the goals or the kills, proccing her adren rush with flips even. So yeah, that was a really intense game, and I think it's promising for what we're gonna see for the next one or maybe even 2 games here.
For sure. Think Nero, I'm not Nero, sorry, Lucas also Loki becoming way harder to kill after picking up the fight or flight and 2 stagger awakenings, was able to, I think, outlast the damage a little longer. And I think that's probably indicated a little bit by a lull in the KOs coming out of lockdown in these later series. And I mean, yeah, was alive and in the right place at the right time to finish things off there. But God, what a beastly Zentaro build. I'm just looking at it again. Wow, so we got Scythening one, explosive entrance, Catalyst, Deadeye, and Ad Rush. Is Zentaro with that build weak? You decide. But in any case, yeah, crazy series here, or crazy game. That was a 26-minute 4-set game. Like, Christ alive, dude. Imagine if it had gone to 5, it probably would have stopped counting stats at that point. But in any case, I think we're probably in for a little bit more of the same damage-wise and stalling-wise, because we are seeing Tycho Temple coming out here. Would not be surprised if the Asher potentially gets banned out here, unless there's just such an evil awakening that the teams have other ideas. But yeah, could be in store for another long one here.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back to the starting awakenings we had, right? We had Explosive Entrance and Monumentalist, and there's another timeline where these teams would have locked in Octavia and Now against each other, and we would have had like a striking the ball, core control, wholesome game, or maybe not wholesome with those characters, but you know what I mean. And I think that's possibly something that these teams could be looking for on Taiko. It is tempo swing, but tempo swing not too much of a damage awakening. It does do a decent bit. It's not negligible, but it's not the same as explosive entrance. Um, and the siege machine here, I mean, I'm sure, yeah, it's favoring the Atlas ban once again, which comes out from lockdown here. Wildcards actually banning the Zentaro this time as they don't want to let it go over the first pick. I think they just think it's pretty broken. Basically, as we saw, it seemed rather strong, and they did first pick it. That actually means that Lockdown are going to first pick Drek here. Now, I think that's actually a triple flex. Of course, Scythen has played it a lot. Sloth can play it, and I think Shen likes it in the midfield, especially on a more closed map like Tycho. Now, do I think it would have been optimal, or it would be optimal for them to put it on midfield out of any of their options here? Probably not, but just saying it's a possibility. But for wildcards here, I think I wouldn't be too surprised if they just picked yeah, they go the Dubu defensive goalie. Plus, my expectation might just be Now. Could be something they're looking for. Maybe they don't want to lock it so quickly in case the enemy locks like Estelle. And there's a lot of range. But I do think it's just such a strong midfield character on this map that you can just get it done if you have Now, even if you have a worse matchup.
Man, they're really deliberating on who's going to compliment this big hamster. Okay, it is. Wow. Okay, what do I know? Thank God I have a co-caster that knows what he's talking about. Because, man, the decisions are just being made for me. But in any case, we'll see how Lockdown responds. I do think, yeah, Zentaro being banned is with this tempo swing starts pretty understandable. I think we could have seen another, like, really nasty Centauro hijinks going on. But Lockdown, once again, now they're the ones taking their sweet time. They really want to extend this series as much as possible as they really deliberate their picks here. Christ, pick someone. Like, please. Okay, it's
Yeah.
Rune. I assume that's is that Shen
Oh, I
Rune?
don't like that. Yeah, I think it has to be Shenrune, but I don't like that. I'm not a fan. I think Now has a very winning matchup into Rune personally because you can just go through Rune, and then what does he do? He secondaries once, and then he's across the map. I think it's a rough matchup for him. Now, the benefit is that they can try and make the Now play through the Drek if they opt to put the Drek onto Scythen. Um, which I'm going to assume it's Drek on Scythen and Sloth on the Asher goalie once again. It's possible that this is the other way around and it's Asher on Scythen, but he hasn't been playing the Asher recently, so yeah, I'm going to predict that it's Sloth once again whipping it out, and it did look good. It did look strong in the previous game, so I'm not too surprised, especially since it's Tycho, a bit of a better map for her, I think. Now, like I said, I think if they allow the Now to play the 1v1 interaction with Rune, I think it's a very hard game for Lockdown to play here. But if they're making Now play through the Drek instead, and the Rune can just play the off angles and just maybe pillar behind the Drek, it's a lot nicer to play. And finally, rounding it out, the Juliet for wildcards, bit of a patented pick for Ivy. I guess she plays a few characters, but this one maybe I personally associate with her more than others. And yeah, a very strong, solid pick, I think. Um, Maybe, it doesn't have too great of a matchup here, I'd say, though. I think it's a strong pick, but doesn't do super well into Asha. You have to play creatively, which I'm sure Ivy can do. And also, Rune is hard to find dash punches on it. He's a slippery guy. Sometimes he'll banish you, sometimes he'll TP away, he'll bait you. So, yeah, I think matchup wise, both these brawlers, it's a bit rough for them to score. But in the midfield, I think it's definitely rougher for the Rune here into the Now, personally.
Guess we'll see who will master the Tycho creation slop, because I feel like that's probably going to be the name of the game here in the midfield for both of the respective midfielders. Should be getting into things soon. Excuse me. Wow. Oh, I'm so ill today. But in any case, yeah, you were mentioning creativity, but luckily the Wildcards have like known freak Ivory Lies on their team. So I think if there were anyone to be creative enough to get around this Ashley, I think she is up to the challenge. So we'll see if they are able to land that particular plane. Q has been popped, meaning that we should get into the swing of things here. Lockdown with their coin flip win on the line. This is big money stuff. Like they need to lock in now, or they might as well just write off the EUSL season. So we'll see if there'll be a resurgence and if my breakfast will be delayed even further, or if the wild cards are able to just convert clinically here and put the series to bed 2-0. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see here. I think I'm curious because if you watch USA, right, one thing you'll notice if you watch Don't Ask is Shen is very ball dominant usually when they play with Don't Ask, and the rest of the players on his team kind of just let him try and cook. And I think that he has to make a big stylistic change to fit into this roster where Scythen is kind of a very ball dominant player for a brawler. So I think that matters more in this game than it did in the previous one, and I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to make the adaptation. I mean, possibly it's going to be Scythen the one to take the off-ball role, but yeah, I think once again in this matchup it should be the Rune who's trying to play to not take too many strike wars with this now. And that looks to be what they're doing right now, at least in the beginning here. The Drek trying to play it through by himself, and the Rune just covering what he cannot. Oh,
Bang!
no.
Man, you said Rune was a slippery guy, and then he's dead within 13 seconds, bro. But in any case, I guess that is just Ivy things. Ivy kind of unsuccessful in taking that berry. Has to try like 3 times over to get it, but does get it. On the third time of asking, Lucas TPing backwards to make sure that this strike layering is set up to perfection and the interaction can be won at minimal expense, meaning that Ivy should be freed up to start dumping some stuff onto Sloth, but does actually get banned. Pillar will not kill, but it will take a fat chunk of change off of that health bar. But Ivy Relies does not care, is opting to just go and beat up Scythen for fun, meaning that it's actually a pseudo power play in favor of the wildcards for the next couple seconds as Ivory continues to try to keep this lizard staggered and scare him off over to the other side of the field. Now, first of probably many flips coming out for the side of the cards as we push into overtime. Ivy might well choose to expend the flip here in exchange for their life, but they're able to actually survive and knock Shen down to low health as they continue to contest here in corner. Lucas trying to work the ball up, but the Rune Banish means that nothing comes immediately. Interesting dodge by Nero, to say the least, but Shen choosing not to flip there, meaning that the ball goes in between the 2 lockdown defenders, and we see the first point on the board for the wildcards here.
Yeah, I'm going to list some stats here. So Ivy is currently 4-1 on Juliet. And I think the one thing that separates her from the other Juliets we have in the league is that she's able to use her cooldowns individually in a way that's very scary. Rather than just, dash, push, punch every time, she'll use them separately. And that's going to force you, rather than, I can just Asher primary this one dash punch, and then she has nothing. No, you have to Asher primary the punch alone, and then you have to dash, and then after that she still has a cooldown advantage. And that's what she's doing, is she's using her cooldowns separately, which is making things tricky for Sloth on the backline already. But speaking of the backline, Scythen finding a great kill there with the nerf Drakar knockback. He's allegedly not a cheese kill character anymore, but Scythen's still getting it done. Although on the other side, the ball is moved as flip comes out from Nero here. They are able to hold their final barrier, and Ivy back up for the offense as well as Lucas now.
I mean, to be fair, I think you could concede that wasn't actually really a cheese kill. It was hit stun into core flip, which is, I feel like most characters could do that. In any case, Ivy winning a really important strike war there against Sloth to put the cards up 2-0 here on the series. We have been going to overtime here in these 2 points, but the proceedings do look to be a little quicker than they were to start things out there in the Clarion game that preceded this one. Balls brawling it out in the midfield. Ivy looking for a kill, but is unable to find the sufficient knockback on to Shen to take him out of the game. The triple defense from Lockdown is able to get the ball out of dodge, but only temporarily, and Sloth is sent to the shops, and then his flip is sent to Timbuktu. That guy not having a good day in the office in that particular sequence, but Scythen able to pick up the pieces, is able to take the first barrier, and the banish from Shen means that difficult questions will continue to be asked of this wildcard side for the next couple seconds, but they're doing a good job to stall in corner and just abate the pressure coming their way and knock it back towards Sloth. And now Ivy looking to set up in corner here. Does dash punch perhaps a bit prematurely, meaning that Sloth is able to bat it away with just a strike. And Scythen can also doesn't have to respect the wall as much, knowing that Ivy doesn't currently have a dash punch, so he's able to do some good stuff there in the bot plane to get the ball forward. And that's the second time that's happened in that exact same spot in 2 points.
I mean, Scythen absolutely mogging Lucas a couple points in a row, but ultimately, I think there's a kind of systematic problem with what Lockdown are doing. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but and that's a kill found. But they seem to just not be able to break the barrier. Now, of course, it's Dubu, and he's hard to score through and break down his barrier. But the trouble is, oh no, and that's a tragic flip, by the way. And this is rough. Ivy's mounting the pressure, looks for the punch, hit stun. It's not enough just yet. And Banish comes out. They have a good chance here, but still, once again, they're just on this top side. Scythen's trying to work through now. But if Scythen gets it through now, how is the Rune going to beat a Dubu? Like, what happens then? And that's just the struggle I think that they've been having. Whereas on the other end, the Now is forcing it through, and then Ivy's just able to use her cooldown super well and wisely to try and get it through Sloth. And eventually, with enough attempts, they're getting through.
Oh no, that is some crazy course speed. Did he get manipulated there? Like I didn't actually really register how the ball, was it wall? I don't, something knocks the ball in red courgette up and dangles it right past Sloth. Whatever that was, I can't say I can tell. It does mean that the first set here in Game 2 goes the way of wildcards, and Lucas rewarded for all that ball touching with the pick of the litter, opts for the chrono boost, responded in turn by a couple of stagger awakenings, one apiece for each team. So perhaps the Lizard will be an interesting pickup heading, or an interesting point of contention heading into these next few drafts. Otherwise, single sparks to round out things and a Deadeye from Rune.
Yeah, as you said, we've kind of got these I don't know what you call them, pairings, mirrorings of the awakenings here. The goalie's getting the sparks, the brawler's getting the stagger, and then some outliers, the Deadeye and the chrono. But I think the chrono is certainly significantly better for the Now than the Rune, of course. A nice offensive start here, and a pretty terrible Dubu wall here means that wildcards are going to be locked in, but they still just have so many shoving options here that the ball is just still able to get through. I think that maybe Shen is going to need to get something like the Timeless to be able to really contend in the corners against all the cooldowns that are coming out by the backline of wildcards right now. As they do break down the first barrier, Scythen's taken low but still looking to participate in the offense here. Might be his doom though, as he's hanging around on the bottom side, reacts to the dash punch well, and is actually going to manage to get away with his life for now. So nicely done, and also going to be able to break the barrier before he's eventually taken down.
Yeah, that's a fine trade, all things considered. Was able to put in a lot of work before ultimately dying, and now we'll get the stagger and energy reset. So, not the worst outcome, all things considered. That said, it's going from bad to worse here as the side of wildcards continues to force the issue here. Balls almost dying, but Lucas surviving. And now Shen looking to do something, but can't really do anything. I guess he can do that. Never mind. I guess I'll shut up. Like, cool pillar, bro. Also looking to confirm it with the ban. Does mean he won't have it off kickoff, I don't believe. But good stuff by the side of Lockdown to get a notch a point on the board and hopefully look to swing the momentum a bit back in their favor after a rough set one.
Yeah, I had Lucas running around in circles there. He does have no evade now though, so yeah, gonna need to use that secondary for the ult dash punch combo that Ivy was threatening. Still though, gonna be fine with that trade, I'm sure, as Ivy mounting once again. She's just using that punch alone and breaks the first barrier, and I'm sure she's gonna just try and do the same thing for the second one right now. Sloth's flip is forced out a bit earlier than he might have wanted in the round. Nearest as well though, and Banish comes out onto him, unable to be punished quickly though. go. Damage coming onto Scythen once again, and the barrier drops as well. Ivy finds the strike around Sloth somehow, and it's tragedy here. Ivy's waiting out. She waits out Scythen's evade, and then it's Nero with the kill with the strike shot. He does lose his barrier though, and Shen cooking on the offense here. Maybe has a pillar to his name. I don't think has one. And Lucas has a flip here as well. They're just mounting the offense forward, but he wastes it, and this is Lockdown's chance. They have to punish something right now. They have to go for it.
Oh, but that pillar is going to mean that they might actually get punished. Crazy Angle and Slop losing to Dorito, meaning that it's actually Lucas 441 to slide through the back door and get a point for cards, even though all the momentum seemed to be out of their favor. Great tempo reversal there. As we head into the third point of the set, scores even. Lockdown looking to just try to land the plane. They're having a pretty rough day at the office here, but so is Ivy, evidently not able to find any sort of kill or value off of that dash punch. Sloth is really having to do everything in his power to contest this flip or even bait the flip out, just anticipate the flip something, but the flip does not come, meaning that this Asher's not looking to be in a good way, but is able to snub out the double trouble barrier to take. It's okay. Is DB wall functional, guys? In any case, I guess they still do get the barrier at the second time of asking, but now we're at one apiece on the diagonal after a bit of hijinks from both sides.
Yeah, and despite it looking quite rough to get through the midfield for Lockdown early on in this point, they actually end up being the ones who got both barriers. Now, they did have to use Sloth's flip to get one of those, but they still have one on Shen and one on Scythen soon enough, and they're in the spot that they want to be on with the rune in the middle. Flip comes out, but so many cooldowns came to shut it down. That's a great banish though. Punishes Lucas's ultimate there, and Scythen just able to slot it down the bottom side. And Lockdown have sneakily gotten themselves to 1 point away from getting this set win, and that's a big change of tone from that first 3-0 loss in the set.
I'm liking Lockdown's chances here, especially vis-a-vis energy. And that's it. Oh, it was almost robbed right from him, but Scythen saw the dash coming and was able to footsie around it to great effect. Holds onto his flip, which I think he's going to guard like a precious jewel and hopefully get into a position to use it on the offense, which looks to be shaping up right about now. But oh no, it's actually Sloth caught on the misposition. Does lose. First barrier, there we go. The Scythen Freak City special. That is the third time that's happened in 2 sets, but it looks like that power play's low-key going to be a little useless because 1, Scythen's dead now, and 2, the Dubu wall denied space and time so well as to make it so offense couldn't even be pushed during the power play, and now Sloth having to dash backwards to make sure he holds on to his 1 barrier. First principles defending there from the Lockdown goalie. Scythen looking to play around the rune pillar, but is now Loki almost dead. He has to respect wall. Great strategic ult by Sloth actually to slow Ivy down, allowing Scythen to heal the clack close to full. Is energy burst weak? Is energy burst weak? Okay, he's choosing to defend with strike. He's still choosing to defend with strike. Good stuff, Sloth. Now means that he'll be able to hold on to it for a bit longer as we head into overtime. Words.
Yeah. I might be crazy to say this, but I think it's funny when Scythen keeps killing Lucas in the same spot over and over, but I think it might not be good enough value for the flip, because every time they've done it, they just aren't able to convert directly off the play. Now, speaking of converting, I mean, that's a great flip pass, and just playing it around those melee champs. But yeah, I think generally, I don't know. I think Scythen has to save his flip for breaking the final barrier or scoring the goal. I don't know. It seems like in the power play, after they kill Lucas, they just still have to get it through the Duba and the Juliet, and it's a tall order. And maybe it's just an issue of they should be converting better, but it seems like possibly they need to save it for the goals. Now, I mean, heavily rewarded here is Scythen with the rapid fire. What more could you want on a Drakkar? The Asher denying away the catalyst from the enemies, and another deny I think coming out, the Timeless Creator going over to now. It's nice on her, but more so I think doesn't want the Rune to get it. He does get Glass Cannon, which I think is very nice on a midfielder, especially like Rune, who likes to play off the ball in a lot of situations and is not going to be within the range to get the Glass Cannon removed. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, on the other side, some size is quite nice, and the team player as well. A very good pickup, I think, for the melee goalie to facilitate the offense in the open net spots a lot better.
Ooh, wow, good pillar out of Shen, getting a lot of energy value out of that. Somehow Julie speeding away, Slav having to run and recover there in the top lane. Scythen is being so deliberate with his positioning here at the expense of perhaps a more structured offense. Good ban out of Shen. Only one member of the wildcards with enough premonition to dodge that thing. Luckily, it was Nero, but unluckily,
Oh,
it was Nero because Nero loses a couple key interactions there, meaning Scythen's able to beast mode. The first goal here in this third set, pretty much all by his lonesome. And once again, now Lockdown actually in the lead in this game for the first time, I believe.
no, that was hot from Scythe, I'll say it. Anyway, a nice double barrier almost comes out. Soph was actually able to save it. I thought his barrier was done for, but Nero with some aggression for the first time in the game, but it's actually punished. Get that guy back in the net where he belongs. Speaking of the net, though, Soph maybe a bit out of position there, and his barrier does drop, and a weird interaction between the Ash ult and the Duva wall. The Duva wall, eventually the victor. Siphon's flip forced out. Maybe was looking for a double barrier angle, but just wasn't able to quite find it. But it does a second later, and now it's anyone's game. I think if the side of wildcards are able to structure themselves more, they have this nice team player advantage. But on the other hand, I think the Rune is a bit better in the open net spot, can teleport to both sides, cover everything with the pillars, and has managed to
What?
disable the enemy midfielder. He just bounced off the drum and came back up. But Ivy
What the
scored.
hell? Okay, cool. I like this game a lot. Wow, that's really cool. But okay, good points by the cards, I guess. Really unfortunate for Okay, cool. So
Oh,
we got another trademark Ivy internet issue, it appears. As quickly as we seem to be establishing some momentum, it was wrested away from us. But yeah, man, wow, what a game. Evidently, very back and forth here. Even points in set three. So, wow, still anyone's game.
yeah, Ivy, apparently she has Ethernet now, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's a different problem today. But a different problem I'm seeing is no one's doing the loop. Okay, Lucas gonna try and get it started. Maybe he's water emoting them. He's starting the lap. Nero's gonna join in here. Maybe Shen he tiptoes forward a little bit. Maybe interested, but nothing too soon. I think in terms of gameplay here, yeah, I think Siphon's build is quite disgusting. It's if you could have asked him, hey, what two awaken? Oh, they got it started. Hey, what two awakenings you want in your first two drafts, Siphon? I think he would have said Rapid Fire Peak, honestly. And yeah, that's a big factor. But ultimately, oh, they're all joining in. Oh,
It's cool.
this
I
is so
like
wholesome.
this.
Uh, Ultimately, I think that Nero maybe been a little less locked in, and they've also been getting less damage pressure going down, I think. Um, and the damage pressure has been rough because when they can get Scythen low, they can just make the rune take the interaction with now. Oh, that was, hey,
The
stop
hell?
that
That's
guy.
uncalled for,
Hey,
bro.
hey,
Oh, look, he's
someone,
running
Cuban
away. What the
police,
hell? Look
go
what we
arrest
do.
that guy.
Oh,
Put that guy in
what the
jail.
hell? Man,
Um,
look at this party pooper here. Now everyone just like they're like, no, I don't want to play with you anymore. So they're back to AFKing like a bunch of sweats. Man, we had a good thing going and it was wrested
yeah,
away from us. But in any case, man, yeah, let's press tab real quick. Wow, that is a scary Ivy build to say the least. What else is
yeah.
scary here? Oh, Scythen got rapid. Okay, that's kind of scary. I think we were talking about him having trouble taking barriers. I guess that's probably going to be a little more helpful. Oh, hitting the 6-7 is Scythen. That's kind of low-key like a Venom Yami thing to do, but I guess he's picking up. He's carrying the flame here. Oh, we're okay. Speaking
Yeah.
of carrying the flame, here's Ivory Lies. We're here to carry the flame forward here in this series in OT. So core speed could get a little nutty, low key. I hope everyone registers that it's OT because that didn't happen to me. That didn't happen to me yesterday, and I got punished for it. But yeah, hopefully these players are a little better than that. As we do see the crazy core speed, meaning that both barriers do fall within like 10 seconds of the restart here, and we'll see if that'll translate into a quick point for the cards or if lockdown. Oh wait, for lockdown, or if the wild cards are able to find their heads here.
Oh, Sloth just got manipulated. That was a subtle one, but it definitely bounced back on him. Now, yeah, as you mentioned, the core speed got the better of the backline of wildcards, but their backline does have team player. Now, if they're able to, oh my god, Siphon just launched the ball, by the way. But if they're able to hold it down, eventually, once those barriers fall, which will be inevitable, it seems here. Yeah, they're going to have this team player advantage and also the flip advantage on their goalie. Now, yeah, they're actually playing really aggressively with Shen here, which is interesting. They're having Scythen just cover the middle and let Shen be the one sitting up front.
Oh,
Maybe he has a better matchup into the Dubu as he can just play around him a bit more than Drek can, which is a nice idea. I do like the theory behind it. But yeah, Scythen, the one with flip though, is going to force out Nero's, who's stalling the play a little bit,
oh my
wants to shoot it in and out primary, which, I mean, you got to do it. It's there, it's so massive. Oh, big Julian to Ash interaction, Shen the savior, but it doesn't matter. Wow, that was so many cooldowns. I think, yeah, the dash punch came, the primary stopped it, and then Sloth flipped, but there was a Julie ult there. And then Shen primaried it. So, nice heroic play, but it wasn't enough from Shen.
what a sequence. Sloth once again missing the bot plane angle on the diagonal, creating a bit of a sticky situation. But the sticky situation being shifted right back in favor or towards the cards. That said, they actually come up trumps. They're able to take the middle barrier off of a good double by someone or other. I believe it was Ivy. But in any case, irrespective of who it was, it now means that they are in pole position to take this set. But Shen is in the right place at the right time to help Sloth here on the D line. And they're going to need that help because that wall from Nero was very well placed to keep the ball exactly where the cards wanted it. But still, we persist in this point. A good ban by Shen to buy some time, but not getting any damage value out of it, or anything of that sort. Also, great patience there by Nero to wait out the self-pass off the pillar by Shen and just log it out of dodge, meaning this dude has still got a lot of kit to help deal with this defense. There goes the log, and should still have roll, if I'm not mistaken. It means that there should be a pretty manageable defense, but what do I know, apparently? Nero's now been robbed of all of his kit and his barriers and Slav. Oh my god,
no.
Shen, what are we doing? Shen, no, your goalie had it. Your goalie had it, but whatever. The Wildcards will not be complaining because they are now one set away from claiming this third seed here heading into EUSL playoffs. So, as far as I'm concerned, the side of lockdown needs to lock in.
Yeah, and that's a rough one to lose. I think that now is just simply going to deny hot shot here. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Rune's probably going to get extra special still, and Drex can get missile prop, I assume. But Julie's going to get 1-2, Dubu's going to get more size here, and Ash is going to be left with maybe the Orb Dancer, I assume. Which, I mean, it's all... Oh, obviously Omega Infuse. Okay, I like that. I like that. I'm a fan. But yeah, I think now getting hot shot, more size on Dubu, more KO range, and open net scoring with the 1-2 core speed for Ivy here is really scary. Of course, Rune Banishes, if they're not evaded, do a lot of damage, as well as the missile prop Drek. But certainly in terms of game state, losing the third set when it's 1-1 is really bad. Yeah, the enemies, the side of Wildcards just have a lot of leeway now, and they're in a spot that's mentally taxing for the side of lockdown, I'm sure. Now, of course, it is locked down with the advantage early on in this one. Shen unfortunately TP'd when the action was still on the bottom side here, and Ivy's trying to work her way through the bottom, but the defense is holding strong here still for lockdown. Haven't lost the barrier yet, but I may have spoken too soon. Sloth loses the first and loses the second, back to back. Ivy loses her life though, has recovery drone, but oh my god, she killed Shen with that? That's absurd. And now that it's a power play for the side of Wildcards.
Scythe doing his best to assuage the situation there. Is buying a lot of time with that M-prop shotgun, which he was able to pick up in that draft. I feel like it was a great draft for both teams, all things considered. A lot of power pickups being traded there. Oh, that's unfortunate. There goes the particle accelerator, and accelerate the core does do. Oh, but Nero getting unchecked by the pillar ups to flip, meaning that he will not have it, but having the flip still is Lucas, and Sloth just loses. Sloth just loses. Does dump the whole kit onto balls 441, but still is not, the flowchart is not good enough to actually get value out of it. It also means that you'll have an Asher without anything except like primary heading into this second point, so things could get a little dicey here.
Yeah, that was such great timing from Lucas there. I think, I mean, maybe the one thing was get the ult out sooner. I don't know if he actually even had it, or soon enough. But what a straight shot snipe from Nero from the back court. And yeah, wow, the offense of Wildcards is just in full force right now. Ivy's just trying to glide, trying to get it done here. Gonna proc the 1-2 core speed soon with this core flip, but this time Sloth has the ultimate to shut it down. Still though, of course, they don't have their barriers up, and that's a big advantage here for Nero. He's going to get another nice strike shot to try and move the ball up, but Siphon tanked that stun, or maybe it just missed actually. That meant that Nero was unable to find that self with a nice dash to recover there, and now it's dicey. I mean, Nero, as we mentioned, has the team player advantage, but still, it's anyone's game here, I think, especially with the Dubu ult. Kind of, it's out now, you know, they have advantages cooldown wise.
I'm really surprised that Ivy Dash did not kill Sloth, but good for Sloth because still is able to hold. Okay, wow, good dodge by Nero at least. One of them's locked in, but yeah, wow, this point persists and persists and persists. Great snubbing out of the flip by Lucas with that now secondary. Now opts to rip the flip himself.
Oh my god.
Oh, Sloth panicking rips the flip, but luckily the timer outlasts the ult from Ivy, but Sloth is just left with nothing up his sleeve to deal with that shot to top lane from Lucas 4-4-1. And now, yeah, the Wildcards, they are doing everything right, and they just have to get one more ball past Sloth and friends to secure their third seed here heading into playoffs. Good ban from Shen. They're trying to change that, but barriers hold for the time being, and it's all hands on deck on the defense for the side of Cars, but it's not enough. Scythen and Shen surging forward. The pillar keeps the pressure hot there in top lane, but it is worked away. Scythen looking to just keep it where it needs to be, but they're slowly getting dog walked backwards. As far as I'm concerned, Shen denying space. Sloth pushing up, trying to get OIA value, trying to help the offense, but is actually almost caught on the overextension by Ivy. And now there's killing Central, but nobody actually dies there in the top lane. Still a 3v3, still dangerous for both teams. Sloth being asked some tricky questions, but answers immaculately with a great ult, meaning he holds on to both of his barriers for the time being. But Ivy looking to encroach and push forward, so we'll see who comes up trumps here in this interaction.
Yeah, Nero found a great strike to get the ball up to Ivy, just splitting the defense or the offense, I guess, in that case. And yeah, I feel like we've transitioned from lockdown having the problem of breaking the barriers to them not being able to move the ball up through now in the open nets, and then just getting abused by the core speed and the shoving. Because yeah, they just can't get the ball through the middle, literally. Now it's gonna transition to wherever the strike war is happening and is gonna win. And you know, the few times that Shen is gonna be able to actually get it through, Nero has everything. I don't know what he's doing with that everything, but I think he'll be just fine in this defense here. And Ivy has flipped to her name, so if the ball's able to go up, even maybe she wants to flip cheese kill. I didn't actually use the punch there. I don't know if that was on purpose, but yeah.
Wow.
And a great TP found by Shen actually. Wow, nicely done.
Wow. Good resurgence there from Lockdown. They needed that. Perhaps Grass, a bit of a misexecution off the flip by Ivy, but they will not be complaining. They needed that point, and things go from better to even better as they take Nero's first barrier without much expenditure on their end. Crazy Dorito from Lucas means the pressure is kept in the blue team arc, but Lockdown able to find the out there, opting to not play into Julie's hand, looking for the middle rotate, which is not called out by another Nero strike shot like as it was earlier in the sequence, or the series rather. But Sloth now really taking his time, trying to find a sequence of good clears to get it out of the corner, and he does. And now the ball graciously falls to Scythe. And Nero's kind of beast moding these clears. These evades. I can't lie. But yeah, still Sloth hanging on to the barrier, but the ult has been ripped. And now, oh god, core speed as the ball ricochets off of a good M-prop wall coming out of Nero. But still, the side of Lockdown are able to lock it down and hold on to their barrier. They could be transitioning to offense here. Scythen looking real scary with flip.
Yeah, I mean, we were in that spot where that was the spot where Lucas was getting cheese killed, and they actually tried to get it on Scythen that time. He's gonna go invis here, look for a crazy red core there, and Shen just able to punish Nero with a bit of a misstrike there. I think he could have struck it just more down simply and Dubu logged through if the direct shotgun had hit. But yeah, I mean, Lockdown showing signs of life when it mattered most here. And a great banish found. Actually, he's gonna get the kill, and another
Hey!
cheese kill found. And they just need to convert. Double wall is out. They're trying to force it, maybe through the middle, get the first barrier gone. He just needs a hit stun here, but Nero with a great evade once again with a stun, holding the barrier long enough for his teammates to get back up. And now I think it's enough though. Shen with another striker on the bottom. Scythen is gonna live on a slither of health. You can't even see how much health he has, but he's alive. That's what matters. Another banish comes out here, and I mean, Shen has the flip.
What?
I think it's a bit greedy though, and yeah, they need to transition to offense. They need to not get nervous. Don't get hasty here. Just need to play clinically, and a great stun comes out, punishing off of that rune pillar. Nicely done, and yeah, set 5. Here we go. I mean, Lockdown Law. They always lose the first game. Okay, maybe this is their game.
Oh, wow, wow. They were down and out for the count, and they somehow managed to string 3 points together when it mattered the most. Manu Rune definitely going to be a lot better at denying space. I think Shen, from time to time, has had his pillars been hit around, so provided no one's there to step on these newly scaled pillars, could be great at keeping offense in Nero's face, which has been a bit troublesome at times. Not to mention, there's a fight or flight onto this Drex, so Scythen's got to be flying. So I think all things considered, decent draft for both teams, but Ivy, especially with that Stinger, could be looking scary as well.
I think there's so many disgusting awakens that everyone just got. I don't know in what order to list them, but his Dubu has 2 sparks now, including Spark of Focus, and cooldown on Dubu is pretty gross. Catalyst Fire Up, of course, it's on the goalie, who's, getting hit a bit less. Oh, great double barrier found there by Scythen, though. Who picked up Fight or Flight, which is a very nice awakening for him. They've got this now, who, I mean, look at her build. Timeless, Hot Shot, Chrono Boost, Heavy Impact. Like, does she have a cooldown on her secondary? I think probably not. Yeah, and I don't know if I said everyone, the Monu on the rune, who already has Deadeye, Timeless, and Siege. Not Timeless, extra special. Like, can just kill someone if they don't evade, basically. So yeah, lots of strong awakenings coming out here, and we'll have to see. I think the teams just have to play better, basically. And so far, it's been Lockdown playing better. Flip, used by Sloth there, I think just wants to make use of the fire-up speed, and that's what the forwards are going to be able to do here. I'm sure that he's just going to be able to get another flip soon enough, especially, with his Asher ult, probably.
That backwards ban by Shen onto Ivy was so funny. To me, that seemed a little unnecessary, but I guess it did afford Sloth the time to flip. But the flip would have just stunned him anyway. But wow, crazy kill by Scythen. It's Scythen. Live! Live! We're not going anywhere. It's Scythen. He's still here. He's still in the play. Somehow survives against the wall and holds on to his flip. So I think this is just going to go from bad to worse for the wildcards. It sure does. Granted, there's a lot of collateral damage pushed onto the 2 forwards as they push into this fat hamster who rolls on them. But still, I mean, wow, the positional advantage decidedly in favor of Lockdown here. Personnel advantage, not so much. Ivy finding a pretty signature kill there off of the edge, meaning that it's their time to shine, push the barrier. They cannot, though. Scythen and Slough are layering impeccably. What the hell is going on? Are we seeing this, guys? It is actually Shen. Shen turns into their worst enemy, sort of. I feel like if that barrier was going to be taken, it was going to be because of Shen, not anyone on the cards.
I mean, let's be clear, okay? If Scythen was playing midfield, he's the best midfielder in Europe, okay? I said it. So, I mean, yeah, and he finds the goal too. This guy is ridiculous. What brawler goes into their corner and strike players like that? I'll give you the answer right now. None of them.
Wow, what am I seeing? It just seems written in the stars for Lockdown to take this point. They have unlocked a completely new level to their play here. Both sides scaling incredibly out of draft, but the playing better and winning more looking to be Lockdowns for the time being. Especially, we've got 2 flips on deck soon for this blue side. There goes Scythen's flip, and he rips it, but Ivy is back. Here comes the cavalry, is able to actually get it out of dodge, meaning Sloth is now the lone bluer with a flip up his sleeve. Great outclear found by Scythen, and good contesting of the strike shot by Sloth to push the pressure back where they want it to be. But wow, that is not where you want the pressure to be. Sloth opting to just abandon bot there. Great ulti by Sloth to hold on to the bot. And now, wow, Shen is not dead. He gets manipulated. He's still alive. So fortuitous for Lockdown. But Lockdown is definitely going to need to capitalize on... What the hell? Like, what the hell? This is your game is on the line and you own goal into your own. Whatever. Whatever. Right. Right. In any case, okay. Hopefully, no more of that to come when the game is on the line.
Yeah, I think it was an attempted back pass to Lucas, but I don't think Lucas is in strike range. And Shen's back on the field. He's moving so quickly here. Sloth is building up to another fire-up flip, and I honestly think if they don't score soon... Oh, great dash! Sloth is looking so young, by the way. He's my unsung hero of this game. He's just getting it done, making use of those quick strikes that he's got as well in the corner. And... Oh, it's
Bang!
just that! It just gets it done, the missile prop range. Wow. And what a way to end it. 3-0 in the final set. Just coming back from such a deficit, lockdown, and we're in for game 3. I mean, what a game. That was
Holy
something else.
crap. Dude, and the people, some were dooming, some were saying playoffs, who cares? 34-minute Taiko Temple slog. Holy crap, 160 saves Sloth, 131 saves Nero, 441 balls, 441 redirects. Someone screenshot that. That's so awesome. Man, what a game. Cinema. Christ alive. That's still funny that there were double as many kills last game, but otherwise every metric just being expounded upon relative to the first game in this series. And this has got to just be mental warfare heading into game 3 to decide the seeding here. Christ, what a series.
I just gotta say, like, no pun intended, the lock-ins that came out of them to just adapt lockdown to, I think, many different struggles in that game. I would say early on, they were taking a lot of damage, and were just unable to break the barriers, and they were losing, they weren't breaking barriers, it didn't look fun. And then in the later set, they were struggling in the open net situations. They couldn't get it through the midfield to get it through a good spot for Scythen to play the game. And over the course of the game, they just kept adapting and getting better. And in the final set, they won 3-0, which is crazy in a game like that was so clutch and necessary. And I mean, of course, Scythen had the crazy flashy plays, and in terms of in the game, in terms of XP, he was the MVP. But as I said, I think Sloth was locking it down so well, especially in the later sets. He was using the quick strikes, and of course that one moment we were talking about where they were strike layering. I think it's harder for the goalie to do that because you got to be so point blank with your reactions to when your forward is striking. They're the one who has to strike first, so you have to react to what they're doing, and he was just doing it perfectly in numerous situations there, and holding it down against the matchup. I think Ivy, when you play into her, if you're on a defensive goalie, I don't like it. Okay, I feel uncomfortable. I'd rather lock in like Kai and run past her so she can't take the 1v1 with me. Okay, like I'll say it. So yeah, very nice performance from him as well as on the enemy team. I mean, strong stuff from Wildcards as well. They look dominant early on. As people are mentioning, Lucas with 441 redirects there, the namesake here. So yeah, I mean, well played by both teams. Very well played.
Oh, yeah, and now we're everything on the line here in Night Market, which, wow, I mean, this is... God, Sloth, why are you doing this to us? He even said it, like he was saying, wow, get ready for Tycho Clarion Night Market, and I thought he was joking, but no, that's actually what happened. I haven't had breakfast either, and we've got another series after this, so low-key flipping the bird to Sloth and friends right now from behind the monitor. Luckily, I don't have face cam, but still, I guess we'll persist. We'll persist. Both teams probably taking a bit of time to mentally recuperate here. I mean, that was a 34-minute series, so we haven't even seen character draft yet. Wow, they both teams definitely came to play today, and I wonder, I wonder if we're gonna see an even longer game, or if some crazy damage awakening is gonna shake things up. But then again, there was kills up the wazoo on that Clarion game, and that was still like 27 minutes. So wow, God knows what's gonna happen here.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Taiko, get ready for Taiko Part 2. I'm sure we could see some similar characters coming out. Especially now, I would be surprised if it wasn't hitting the present stats once again in this night market game. Possibly going to be banned out. It's rather miserable to play into. But as well as that, the Dubu, the Asher, the defensive goalies, the Drek once again, the Julie. Yeah, everything could come out on the field once more. But outside of that, there are some interesting comps that can be played on this map. Some variations of, the old I mean Joya's era Julie X comp that have, more recently people are playing it a bit with, Era Dubu, Asha, or sometimes with Now. Yeah, some variations, switch things up, but I don't know if I don't know if these goalies have the gonads in game 3 to whip something that's not defensive. I don't know. I mean, I'd be pleasantly surprised if one of them wants to lock in the mum boots era here, but
Man.
I think that we're probably gonna see another battle of melees.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know. What was I gonna
yeah.
say? I was gonna say that Balls 441 is the only one in this lobby with any sort of balls, and he's not in between the sticks. So I'm not counting. I'm not counting on anything eventful happening here on the goalie front. No way Sloth's locking the era. I doubt.
Can you
As much as that'd be cool. He's not,
can you blame them? Okay, they've got a coin flip on the line here. Okay, this is big stakes.
this is all for a coin flip, guys. This is all for a coin flip. This isn't even like there's like some like ostensibly there's some stakes in the next series we're gonna watch. This is literally for a coin flip. Why are they playing so hard? But in any case, wow, Spark single Spark. Guys, is Spark strong? And also OIA, so wow. Interesting pair of starting awakes here.
Yeah, Geo is not here, so I think that decreases the chance of OIA being picked in this game rather significantly. Possibly it could come out again. We saw Sloth pick it on the Asher in the previous game, and he didn't die. I don't think he was close to death really since he picked it, to my memory. But Lockdown here, gonna stick to their tried and true ban. Wildcards in the spot last game did ban the Zentaro when Lockdown had the first pick. Now, I'm uncertain if they're going to opt for that again. Maybe they want to deny the Drek here instead on a more shoving based map here. They actually want the Asher gone. They said, Sloth, you're doing too much. Okay, get it out of here, which I think makes a lot of sense. And I'm happy to see the defensive goalie pool being shut down a bit. Of course, they still have the Dubu and the Drek and even the Mako possibly available. So we'll have to see what Lockdown wants first pick here. I think possibly the Drek first pick once again. Maybe Now could be a nice first pick to go into, but it's actually the Zentaro that wasn't banned this time. And we'll have to see if Scythen has the blade inside him.
Oh, I was just making sure we haven't had a roster swap. I don't think we have. I was just paying attention to the prod thread because there was one player apiece on each team that sequence was actually getting sent to the Shadow Realm with how much like ping and technical difficulties we were suffering from. But it does appear we're persisting with main rosters. Okay. Anyways, while I was yapping, does seem that wildcards are they're really just taking all of Lockdown's characters. They ban out the Asher, they steal the
Dubu.
Drek. Yeah, at this point, just take the doob. Take the doob, bro. Come on. You won't. In any case, wow, they're really thinking about it. They're really thinking about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if it was Now again here. It could be Dubu, as we said, to just deny the melees. Oh, it's actually Estelle. That's an interesting one. It could be Estelle goalie here, maybe.
See, maybe, but I doubt it. I don't know. I'm not crossing my fingers or anything like that. Man, well, honestly, really doesn't matter what Nero plays. I feel like he just can't own goal again. He just can't own goal, and I feel like that's kind of out of the control of your character. That's more striking. But in any case, we'll see. Okay, Lockdown Now. You think that's Shen or is that Sloth? But Sloth was really talking to me before this series. You were saying Now goal he doesn't like it. So okay,
No,
I assume that's Shen. I'd put that's probably Shen.
And I think wildcards here have postured themselves in preparation of the Now pick. Because, yeah, if you're playing into Now, I mean, they won with the rune, but I don't think you necessarily want to be playing rune into now most of the time. Mostly, I think you want to play something like BSL to play with some range. And they do also lock in the Dubu here. Now, I think that's a great backline. The one struggle I see here is, despite Zentaro being super OP and everything, I think he does have a pretty bad matchup offensively into Drek. And I've talked to Scythen briefly about this, and I think he tends to agree. And they did also play this matchup into Vas in their previous games, and I believe they lost in the game where they played Zen into Drek, if I'm not incorrect. And Wildcards once again rounding out with the Juliet here, with the Spark of Strength, with Ivy's patented pick, which is now actually fallen to 4-2 in terms of win-loss. So I don't know how the stat sheets counts. Maybe it doesn't count the tiebreakers anyway. But yeah, once again, it's a scary matchup for the Julie into the Dubu, but still, as we saw in the previous one, Ivy's very good at using her cooldowns to make it not so easy for a melee goalie player to hang around. But yeah, these I don't know, both these comps are good. I think I'm leaning more so towards the lockdown comp. Um, Mostly because I'm just a bit more of a fan on this more closed off map of the now. Um, but if they're being allowed to play around the Zen and the Now a lot, the SL is gonna go crazy, right? So yeah, it all depends on if the side of lockdown are able to keep the ball in the hands of Now and yeah, not let the Estelle just poke her from range and play away from her.
Will be interesting to see who's on what character for the side of the wild cards. Their name off for me, so I actually low-key can't tell you. I gotta, okay, okay, so it's Nero on the Drek goalie, Lucas
Yeah.
on the Estelle. Okay, W. That's pretty conventional. I think both teams able to persist in the D-line quite a bit with these setups. It's really going to come down to the brawlers. Or strike shotting your own barrier too, that works as well. But in any case, that means we do see one barrier falling apiece for both teams. Scythen already brought shockingly low. Zentaro, such a squishy character, especially to start out life in any given game, meaning that had to retreat and get the orbs there. Still, Shen doing a good job in his stead to just make sure the fort is held. And now, man, both teams really trying to shove it through here in that top side J corner, but nothing really happening. And as the focal point of the offense does eventually get switched, though, meaning that we're a bit more free range now, but still so hard for either team to establish any sort of possession early on here in this point.
Yeah, and early on, the chip damage that's coming onto Scythen, of course they have a now, but it's actually quite good for them every time that the now is using the secondary to just heal Scythen, right? It's one less cooldown that Lucas or Ivy is going to have to deal with when trying to play through the now. And speaking of damage, Scythen is just completely one-shot there out of his ultimate. Still though, the barrier has to drop, and Sloth with a nice ult there. It's preemptive, there's no do ult is fake shenanigans there. Just holds it down long enough and actually is able to force the flip out as well. Shen is in trouble here though, I think in danger of the dash punch flip of Ivy having no evade, but is actually poking Ivy down and is just a bit too fast to get a hold on for her right now.
We're still in point one. What the hell? In any case, wow, I guess this is a harbinger of things to come if scaling is not favorable to one or both teams. In any case, Scythen looking to finally score, but he can't because the primary is right at Nero, who's able to just bat that away with a strike, no trouble. And we continue, and we persist, and we don't anymore because Flip is weak, I guess. In any case, good conversion by Scythen off of a bit of a misplay by Nero, meaning we finally see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel here. The ball goes into the net at long last.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a misplay, but I also think a bit of misfortune there where his direct shotgun bounced it off the middle, like into the perfect spot for Scythen. It was a bit unlucky, a bit tilting maybe, but once again, they're just taking out all of their anger onto him. Ivy was like hit sideways, her hitbox was changed, and then she just got one tapped. I don't think she had time to evade that one. And a bit of payback coming out for all the damage that came onto Scythen here. Although they're kind of misplaying this power play, I think they played it a bit too much through Lucas, who is in danger of taking a bit too much chip damage, but still, is going to get back and recover. Zentaro now definitely a comp that does an annoying amount of damage. They have very low cooldowns to keep you from regenning. So if their goal is to deny one target from getting any health regen and just poke them down, it's certainly something that their comp can play into.
Ivy looking to take the 1v1 here, but Sloth is equal to it with the log, is now kind of being a little tentative with his positioning. Okay, goodbye. There goes Lucas for the next couple seconds as the side of lockdown. Look to transition to offense here, but they just can't get it around this Julie midfield somehow. But Shen finally finding a bit of a way to switch the focal point of attack, but Lucas is back on the map quick enough to make sure nothing comes of that Sloth. Whoa, little dicey there, and just gets shot right through the heart. Exclamation point primary out of balls 441 to get a goal on the board for cards here. We're now one apiece here.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for them, Shen kind of had to ult to save Scythen, who had flip. But if he had been there, I think possibly he could have struck it out of that primary. So just, lose-lose situation there. But speaking of a loss, that's a loss of the midfielder for the side of wildcards here, and they haven't been too successful in these power plays lockdown, and it's actually Ivy finding the cheese kill onto Shen. That's a big one, as I believe he had a flip to his name, and it's a reversion of the power play here, and so much damage coming out onto Scythen once again. Now they have their now spawning, who's probably got a cooldown available. Yeah, an ult, the secondary comes out, and Scythen's back out of stagger here. But still, that's kind of a tragic power play for them, as they didn't get any barriers here, and Scythen is going to be quite low right now.
Man, but really, it's just not, it's a non-issue, because if your brawler's gone, you just do this for 45 seconds. Like, it's just whatever. Now Scythen's back to health, so hopefully we see a little bit more flashy offensive plays now that the personnel have been leveled back at 3 apiece. Shen stalling for time, is looking to just find a way around this Ivy Juliet, is able to call out the dash. Soft opting to flip for barrier, does not want a dicey open net situation, which is perfectly understandable given his adversary. And now once again, we're back to this all too familiar like corner foreplay between the two teams as they desperately try to prod it through one another, but it seems like everyone's always got a full kit. Great reaction by Sloth. Hello, underrated decision making there to hold on to his barrier, but now Ivy is looking to slowly have all the cards to take barrier, but I guess Sloth had a wall, which means we persist once more as we continue here in this play, and as Sloth continues to hold his barrier.
Yeah, I mean, we might be in this game for a while. It just seems like they're going back to that spot over and over. Maybe the side of wildcards need to restructure how they're thinking about this offense, or maybe Ivy just needs to get the ball and get it done there. And lots of damage here onto Shen, who not going to have as many cooldowns as I mentioned before to get it through the midfield, since he keeps using them to heal himself or Scythen. Nero, unfortunately, didn't trust in Lucas and was... it was unfortunately a waste of flip there, and maybe that's punished as the dash comes out perfectly onto Nero. Was probably just hit stunned. I mean, we couldn't see him, but he's just completely done through. And yeah, lockdown, getting it done, going strong in this point.
You know, during finals season, I had such a bad stress response that I contracted like a weird skin condition, and my doctor prescribed me some antibiotics that apparently make me energized. So I look-y, wait, not antibiotics, antihistamine. So I look-y might take one of those to get a little more hype for what I'm seeing, because it's kind of hard to find joy in the journey at this particular moment in time. But in any case, it looks like things are maybe getting a little more exciting. We're down to 1 barrier apiece for both goalies, that's new. In any case, Shen and friends looking to take that 1 barrier to 0. Good attempt at the setup there, but nothing really happening just yet as the midfielders of both sides just continually just play it into one another over and over and over again. This is for a coin flip, by the way, guys. But in any case, good wall by Sloth to once again buy some time.
Oh my god.
Scythen's dead, I guess, but he should be fine, probably. Yeah, there we go. And Sloth flips, meaning that Ivy's put into stun and isn't able to take barrier. And now Shen just misses, I guess. But okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Crazy core speed, but once again, nothing happening. And we are in OT, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. That duo ult saved Scythen's life in one of the most unusual bounces I've ever seen. But yeah, he just like lived on the edge. Oh no, that was not it off the flip from Shen. But at least we're getting some more action right now. That was a freaky bounce off the do wall once again. But still, it's the side of wildcards with the favor. Almost a crazy angle there coming out of Scythen. And Ivy looks for a cheese kill. She does have flip to her name. And I don't believe Sloth has his wall up just yet here. So, you know, it's going to be rather
no.
annoying for him to deal with, especially with no
Oh my
secondary.
God,
So
bro.
he missed. And Sloth is dead. And they're just... Okay. And we're on
That's how we
2-2.
lose. After all that, that's how we lose. Okay. We're in set one, guys. We're in set one. Oh my God. Whatever, Slough. Thank you. Okay, so, wow, good footsie around good footsie around several abilities by Shed. Actually, to live, not so great on the positional front from Nero, though, perhaps losing a bit of focus. Both goalies seemingly losing a bit of focus. Good decision making by Sloth. Recognizes that the 2v1 was beckoning and just shuts it down instantly with a good wall. And I thought he won that strike war, but he didn't. Good. I'll actually say good strike war from Ivy in that case. Able to set up the offense well, and is now looking to continually beat Shen in a series of interactions to drive the ball forward, but is not able to land the plane in that particular instance. Scythen, good trade, gets the flip out of Nero and holds on to his own. Granted, that thing's probably gonna have to be ripped for survivability. Oh, never mind. It's actually ripped to take away survivability. Granted, now this Zen's Loki, a bit of a sitting duck, is somehow able to grab orb uncontested. Okay, cool. Now you got a Zen on next to full health. Looking, guys, the entire lobby is level 7 and it's set 1. What the hell? Okay,
Oh
yeah,
no!
there you go. Put me
No,
out of my
like,
misery. Thanks, guys.
Okay, that was crazy. Yeah, that was a nice angle from Shen to break the barrier. It was a bit of redemption from the previous point, or I don't know if that was the same point. Honestly, they're all blurring together. But regardless, Lucas here with the first pick. Doesn't actually have to pick the Catalyst, maybe won't, because it is the enemy goalie who has it, maybe wants to drop it. Yeah, just going to pick the Spark here, as of course it is a Spark start. Once again, Sloth going to be the one to get the Catalyst here. And Ivy holding off for a second, going to whip out that recovery drone. Might help a little bit in this game, but on the other side we see a couple dashes and a bit of haste coming out. The chrono boost for now, the expo for Zentara, and I think that's a nice power spike here. Nero gets the aerials, the final dash awakening there, but yeah, I think the spark is really strong for Lucas, but I like the double dash range for this team of Lockdown and their comp a lot. So I don't know, both teams have pretty good drafts here.
See if that shakes up the state of affairs at all. I think, if anything, a barrier should be falling a little more frequently, a little thicker and faster now.
Oh no.
Especially now, good layering of abilities out of Ivy to take a barrier, and now Sloths once again in an all too familiar open net situation. But a lot of abilities being ripped in midfield and none of them connecting with the ball. Sloth not having too much to his name, I believe, probably just roll at this point. Wall is beckoning, but now is the time to strike if there ever were one, but the rotate is found. No brawler quick enough and no midfielder with enough abilities up their sleeve to cover out clear effectively there means that we persist. We continue. Good strike shot by Nero. I think it kind of just gave possession back to the side of Lockdown, but at least it keeps the ball in their half, which is where the Cards want it. That said, Lockdown now clogging up top lane and forcing a flip out of Nero, and Scythen flipping perhaps a bit for fun, meaning that the energy scales are leveled. No one threatening with flip just about yet, but there goes the energy. Sloth, press buttons. Oh, okay, good try, but the button pressing was a little bit wayward from the Lockdown goalie there. And on the other side of the coin, good flowchart coming out of Ivy to get the first goal here.
I mean, Ivy kind of just, snatched Shen's ankles there, just destroyed them. That was a bit brutal. Nice individual play on the dribble there by her. But regardless, no flip for her now. Lucas has one, but he's a bit of a freak. He was looking for a primary flip cheese kill there onto the enemy midfielder, but Shen did not fall for it in that occasion. Nero with an evade there, a bit cautious of the Zentaro here, and a nice duel does shut things down, and also means that Ivy is taken quite low. Of course, she does have the recovery drone, but actually doesn't need to waste it. I guess she was just able to walk out because the ball was being hit by the ult instead of her. But still, I mean, get some subway surfers on this gameplay, because we're just going to go back and forth here through the lanes. They're trying to force through the top side once again. Dash punch kill actually found. Nothing Shen could do without an evade or his ult there. And actually, it's a wildcard's power play here.
And look, okay, good wall by Sloth actually to completely imprison Ivy, meaning that Lucas was unable to take the barrier all by his lonesome. Good ricochet off of the back there. Good team play in general coming out by the cards there to find an out amidst all the offensive pressure. Sloth flip.
Oh,
Okay, whatever. Good goal by Ivy there. So just primary it past Sloth, put him into stun. I guess on the bright side, you do have energy heading into this next point. But, you know, all good. We're looking to be into like a little quicker second set, all things considered, unless we head to another 0.5, which I'm not ruling out at this point, especially because Sloth has the kit to hold for days in this particular point.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like Lockdown just have to do a bit more damage, honestly. They need to put some pressure on one of these enemies. I think probably it has to be Lucas, but it's just them who are getting cheese killed. They're getting killed. That's the second time in maybe 30, 40 seconds there that Ivy's found a kill. She is low once again, but has a recovery drone and is just not getting much. Oh no, once again, it's another kill.
did, did we just see what Nero did?
Yeah. He's used to the now being on his team, so he thought it was safe to shoot through the primary, I guess. Ivy's recovery drone finally out in exchange for a flip there, and we're back to a more neutral state that we're used to, where we're just working through the corners once again.
Oh my god, okay. Good wall by Sloth. The physics breaking, the audio breaking, but still able to ensure the defense. Lucas TPing upwards, but the flip is not ripped, and now it is, and it's all going from bad to worse. Another Dorito, arch nemesis of Nero, but is able to weather that particular storm. Shout out EUSL. In any case, good. What the hell? The world's first Super Pro League sighted. What a crazy angle to slot it right between Lucas and Drek there. And there we go. Lockdown do have a point on the board after a bit.
Maybe Shen and Scythen are just prodigy geniuses, or maybe they got a very fortunate bounce there. I don't know. I couldn't say for sure. Maybe the Zen dash to punish on it was intentional, but yeah, nice combination there. They just weren't able to deal with Shen. A bit low here, but of course he is now at the end of the day, and it's very rapid here. Gonna quickly be approaching a core flip as well as Scythens, which I think he'll probably just try and use to kill Nero. It's actually Shen who's using his flip to kill Nero. Scythen is using his flip for nothing, and that does mean that their defense holds for a second. Ivy, I think, just has to play her life in this point. They just need to honestly put the ball in our net. Like, that's what I would say to my team. Let me hold my flip, because otherwise they would have just killed her. Yeah, and I think it's a scary spot, honestly, for the side of Lockdown to be in, having no energy on the enemy forwards, on their side forwards, sorry. Playing into a Juliet who has flip, right? Dash punch, okay, well, not if you do that, right, okay. All good.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Set 5.5. No one has flip. All good. In any case, seems that both teams are okay, wait. There could be a bit of action here. Sloth does win the interaction, though. The Crystal Thorns out of Lucas. Not quite enough to make things happen. Great timing up the roll. I'm now on 160 ping and rubber banding, but it looks like the defense was held, so that's good. Oh, wow! Somehow, Shen not dying there is able to just about microspace the knockback off of the primary from Ivy. Now, Lucas looking to hit an immaculate setup and does so. Great double stun there from the two wildcard forwards. It's now looking like perhaps they're set to lose unless Lockdown are able to push a couple good buttons in the here and now. They do get the flip out of Nero, but now the flip's coming out of Scythen, so that Brawler's not looking too long for this Earth, as is Ivy. That said, and now Lucas looking to threaten with flip, but come on, why are you doing that in corner into Dubu? I mean, he's just going to do that. Granted, he didn't really do that earlier in the sequence when he got shoved through in a similar situation, but Sloth equal to it, has the flowchart on lock in this particular instance, and almost takes the barrier off of some nutty core speed, but we persist. Scary 1v1 beckoning a couple of flippers in chat, but Sloth is the first to blink. He does get the defense going, but now has literally nothing. Like, genuinely, I don't think he has a single thing playing into Ivy with many things, some are saying, so could get a little hairy here.
I think Shen might be dead if Ivy finds the punish. She doesn't get the dash punch and the flip is successful, but it's right through. Unfortunate Sloth expecting the shot to the bottom. And that's the second time that it's been 2-2. And Wildcards have won that final crucial point. And it means that they're just 2-0 up. And Estelle, I mean, this lobster is very buttery. So many options here on the board. Rapid fire, I think, just makes the most sense. Unfortunately, Sloth, I'm sure he wants extra special and fire up both. Is actually gonna pick the fire up, which means Juliet's gonna get extra special. I don't know if that was worth it, possibly. Maybe it's just better to take the fire up with the catalyst. I don't know. It might be. We'll have to see. But now it does get Monu here. That's a big power spike, as well as Fluffle and Scythen. It feels like he gets that every single game. And it's gonna be the Adren Rush picked. I think that's actually quite wise from Nero, because I would be a bit scared that this now and the Zen could lean more into their damage, because I think their comp certainly can play for it.
I would hope so. I think they're doing a pretty good job thus far on asking some tricky survivability questions of the side of the cards. And if they're able to just keep laying on the pain, that could do them some good, because it seems like they're having trouble converting on the 3v3 due to the nature of the map and the quality of the players that they're up against. In any case, they're no slouches themselves. Sloth finding a good hold and funneling it into Shen. Wow, Ivy pausing in disbelief, but it's actually a really clutch save by Lucas, I believe, to keep the cards alive in this particular point. Ivy not able to really help on offense, though, is playing her life, is cowering in corner, does manage to get an orb, which you like to see. Should be back up into ship shape soon. She sells seashells on the seashore, god damn it. But in any case, there we go. Flip once again might be weak, and the side of Lockdown do notch a goal off of a good primary by Scythen, who holds on to his flip.
Yeah, I mean, that was rather greedy by Lucas, dashing right below and now with flip. Yeah, not his finest moment. But regardless, they're still, they're 2 sets up. He has a bit of room to mess around. Shen taking a lot of damage here, but he's just going to heal up and actually do a ton of damage in the process of healing with that Monu. Flip is forced out of Nero. Now is the time he opts to use it, but, he's not the goalie who has fire up, so I don't know if that was the best spot to whip that one out. And Scythen dicing up the first barrier here and threatening on the second with his flip as well, and also going to get the orb, so he'll be just fine. Ivy with a nice redirect off her dash and looking for something else. Maybe has an ult or a primary here. Yeah, has both of them. Tries to work it, but just the Dubu stun is a bit too much. And this defensive matchup here looking quite nice for the Dubu early on into the set. Dash Punch comes out, but the kill is not found this time, and that's quite critical for them here. Shen has a lot of energy, and as now going to be building it up rather rapidly here. So yeah, once they actually are able to work the ball up to Scythen, I think Shen will probably have a flip to be able to assist in the offensive goal, but I think probably used it a bit hastily there.
I feel like that's kind of a developing theme. Shen in this entire series has seemed to be greeting flips quite a bit, and there's not even like the Kata excuse. I think maybe perhaps just a bit overeager to put this point to bed, which understandable. We're probably pushing 20 minutes already, and we have potentially 3 sets left to play. But anyways, not going to put the points to bed in that case. Sloth demonstrating how to hold on to flip for a good sequence to get the save, but still ends up dying on the losing barrier on the second time of asking, and gets stunned, but is somehow far back enough to save the ball, and now is also somehow striking through Juliet primary. Okay, beast, but can't withstand that, unfortunately. Too many abilities in his face, meaning we are now 1-1 here in set 3.
Yeah, I mean, he just defended everything Julie had, and then this is still Blink down, and then Blink primary ulted him. Like, what is that? Rapid fire is pretty disgusting. But yeah, regardless, as you said, they've got to be a bit more clinical with the flips here, I think. Sloth, has a bit more of an excuse. He has more of an excuse with the fire up catalyst. But still, maybe it would have been nice if we had it flipped there for our defense. I don't know.
Get
Maybe.
the hell out of here, Sloth. Bro, good riddance. Okay, we're match point for the wild cards. This coin flip looking rather juicy right now for them. They have managed to find a bit of a stride here. That said, anything can happen. Look at the bar. Look at those orange bars. A couple flips beckoning for the side of Lockdown here. Provided Shen is able to hold on to it for more than 0.3 seconds, good things maybe will happen. But yeah, and Sloth takes Shen's orb, meaning that he won't have flip quite just yet, but that does mean Sloth will have dodge to deal with the impending Julie Doom that will be coming his way. There goes the flip from Shen, good funneled into Scythen, who's able to convert on the barrier, but now energy is looking dicey, as is the barrier situation. Sloth, it's really life or death here. Balls to the wall action. There you go. Great shot by Lucas to the top corner and puts things to bed. 3-0 actually, after what was looking to be like hell. But there we actually get it done. That might have been shorter than the Tycho game.
Yeah, I mean, time and time again, Lockdown were able to come back from being, one goal away from losing the game. But this was the one where they just couldn't do it. This one was a 23-minute game. So yeah, this was definitely the shortest one. The first game on Clarion was 26 minutes, I believe. But yeah, all round, well played by Cards. They just closed it out perfectly in that final game when it mattered most in those two first sets where they had the 2-2 situations, they were getting the wins, and that's what matters. No matter how close it felt, ultimately it was a 3-0 because they were closing the games out. And of course, having Lucas on their team, they're experienced in being in 2-2 situations. That guy gets in those a lot, and I think, yeah, I think in hindsight, the draft change that they made from just picking the now, as they did it on the Taiko Temple game, into saying we want something that's going to have a better matchup into this defensive goalie. And in terms of a midfielder, I think Estelle just has the best matchup into something like the Dubu. It's the hit stuns from range, doesn't have to get close into stun range, can play around him. And yeah, we saw that in the final two, maybe even three. I don't know. They were very long points, but at least in the final 2 points, it was the Lucas Estelle primary ultimate combination that eventually was able to get it through Sloth there. And yeah, I don't know. I think, as I said before, I think Lockdown maybe could have played for the chip damage a bit more that they have in their comp, but Wildcards were just a bit more coordinated and were able to get their victory and mean they secure the third seed, which means that if these two teams play against each other in playoffs, that means that Wildcards will get the coin flip win.
Man, that was worth it. Man, 2 hours and 11 minute stream thus far, by the way. But speaking of time, don't go anywhere. We'll be taking a short amount of time to hop to break as we transition into our second series of the day. Yes, another tiebreaker between Blob Gap and Voss. There's a little more at stake there. We'll elucidate you on those facts later. But in the meantime, do not go anywhere. More action coming up. Okay, welcome back. Have another heater of a series here. It's also worth noting the stakes in this particular instance are a bit different. Right now, we've got Voss and Blobgap squaring off. And in this case, what we're playing for is whoever, or rather, both, because they're fighting for the first and the second seed, right, in playoffs. And then the way it works is that the first team gets to pick which third or fourth seeded team they get to play against. So in essence, whoever wins this series gets their first pick of the litter. Once we head into bracket next week, which I think it might sound a bit trivial, but I think it's not to be understated, especially because I think Card and Lockdown are two very different teams. So then, depending on which one has any given other team's number, there's some strategy and something to play for here. So hope both teams come out swinging. Maybe not as swinging as the teams in last series, but yeah, still looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, certainly. And I do think, these playoffs, there's not one team that is notably worse, right? All these teams, they can beat each other. They've shown that they can do that. And I think that for these first seeded teams, both of them might have different priorities for who they want to pick. Like Vast, the last couple times they played wildcards had the better of them in EUSC and in their last EUSL game. But Blobgap, I think they beat them in their past EUSL game. So maybe those teams will have different priorities, and that will make this win very impactful. But in terms of draft, I don't know how much people have been tapped in on what Alex has been playing these days, but for the many fans of him, I'm a fan of Alex, especially, I copied his playstyle when I played goalie. I whipped out the eject Amy like a lot of goalies, but he's changed, guys, okay? We're gonna see him right now locking the direct goalie here. It's gonna be Blobgap picking the Atlas and the now in the midfield here for Dinfar, who is filling in for Zar. Yeah, not too uncomfortable for them though, as of course Yodsman and Din played together in Mindman Club. No, why do I keep saying that? In Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Sorry, that's the Minecraft in me getting out. Yeah, they played together. They're comfortable, and they got Cookies in as well at their main brawler. But Vas gonna whip out the rune here. Oh, and actually Dubu. So I guess it's Dubu goalie. I thought it would be Alex on the Drek, but the main point is Alex. I don't think is going to be playing any eject goalies for this series. He's basically, he believes that in this meta, the eject is just not worth the investment to play it. And the defensive goalies are just better. So he's going to be locking in the Dubu here. We're going to see, once again, a defensive goalie mirror from what you'd expect to be the two goalies who are most likely to whip out the eject button in EUSL, right? Yods and Alex, the ones who've been playing it. And finally, Blobgap rounding out their comp with Asher, something that Cookies doesn't typically play, but something that, one, it's not super complicated. You definitely need, you can't be terrible at it, but sometimes you can just put the ball in the corner and press your buttons.
Looks like since we're at the business end of the season, both goalies decidedly business oriented here. We are seeing Yodes on the Atlas instead of perhaps a more characteristic ejector as he is wont to take, such as his iconic Luna or perhaps even the Aimi. Does mean perhaps we're looking at a bit of a longer game one here, especially because of Tycho. Granted, you do have some explosive capacity with this Asher to get gates open early if there's a bit of a miss execution on the goalie front. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, once again, two midfielders that are probably looking to control space with a lot of creations and then just funnel it into their brawlers. But yeah, wait, you're saying that it's going to be Drek goalie, right?
No, I think it's actually going to be the Dubu here.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Drek goalie come out. We've basically seen Alex in a lot of scrims, and if you look at his messages in EOS, we've seen him say a lot that he just thinks Drek is very strong. He thinks that, I mean, I would tend to agree that Drek doesn't particularly have a bad matchup as a goalie. Oh wait, it actually is Alex on Drek and it's Dubu Brawler. Okay, I'm down for that. I mean, Dubu Brawler is pretty interesting to watch, so I'm down. playing into the Atlas, I guess. So yeah, it is actually Alex on the deck. I hadn't seen Al's play the Dubu Brawler before, but we'll have to see. Both of these forwards, I'd say, on a bit of uncomfortable picks, but they're both pretty similar in what they do. Everyone playing the Reptile Remedy, Slicks on the side of Blob Gap, Mags only for Venom Yami on his rune here, and yeah, basically. I just think Strek has no bad matchup, and I can just hold it down, and he tends to be able to do that.
I think Alv's known. Oh, wait, did my lobby break? It did. Anyways, what I was gonna say is Alves is Loki a known hater of the regular season, so might just be trying to have a bit of a goof at a gap here, but doing decidedly more than that, actually getting the goal. And my lobby broke again. I am on literally, I kid you not, 98% packet loss right now. So I'm only for every 100 frames, I'm having 98 dropped frames. But okay, I'm still able to kind of suss out what's happening. And we do have a point on the board for Voss.
Yeah, as right now, it's a bit awkward for this now to actually play through the Dubu. I think that the side of Bubblegap are going to have some troubles here where they need to rotate the ball to force it through the rune, but it's rather hard to do because they don't really have the best rotational tools either, and the ball is kind of just being played around them rather than the other way around, which they might like. Double Banish comes out, but not a lot of damage. The Dubu wall though does get it done in breaking the final barrier, and Alice has a flip to his name to possibly get the goal as well.
Both teams, excuse me, both teams making things happen in top corner. Low key, you switch me color because if this keeps up, I cannot do play by play. I'm colored for now. I'm gonna watch the stream through. Okay, pick up.
Okay, so we got Rookie Cookie in the corner here in combination with Din right now. They're both double banished though. No pillar comes out onto them, however, which means that they're going to live just fine. Still though, the final barrier of Alex is not falling, and the only thing that's happening is more energy is coming on the field. Although, speaking of energy, it's gone from the side of Owls, who now is dead. Venom with a nice stall there from his flip. Put a bit of pressure on Yosman, who was forced to use the secondary, but not too much happened as a result of that. As once more, Cookie's trying to work his way through the bottom, but the Drek of Alex is just intercepting before he can get anything through. Flip comes out, trying to start an offense here, but it's a kill onto the forward once again. This time it's Rookie Cookie, and right now it's a power play on the other end, and the strike is not enough as Yodes has the strike shot for it, but won't have one now. Is holding well with the secondaries, but still it's Venom Yummy on the top side with the rune pillar.
There we go. Great usage of the rune pillar there to just self combo into the top cornered goal there. Both teams, I mean, yeah, I think ultimately of the two creation midfielders to start off life here, it does seem Venom Yami is getting the better run in terms of putting stuff down to the nice space. I don't think we're seeing that much Dorito value yet out of that's Din, right?
Yeah.
Okay, noted. But yeah, so out of this now, Phil, once again, little wayward there, but a good secondary to the dice space. But once again, snubbed out by another good pillar by Venom Yami into the wall. And chaos is ensuing here as both teams vie for Yodes' barrier. Yodes is able to hold there and layers a good strike to seal the deal. And now offense shifts up onto the other side of the pitch, and the first barrier for the side of Voss does fall, but Alex should be in good position to hold the other one for a long time, given the kit and the flip up his sleeve. Not to mention great ban out of Venom Yami, but it just does not last long enough quite yet to do anything. And we're getting into overtime here in set one.
Yeah, there's just big struggles here for the side of Blobgap to just move the ball up through the midfield. Oh, a couple of misstrikes there, nothing too horrible come from it. Oh wow, that's a really nice strike from Din off the back corner to get the ball to Yodsman, but nothing found still. Rookie Cookie trying to work on the top side, but Alex didn't even need a shotgun for that one, playing it around. He's gonna have everything up. Flip unfortunately wasted there out by Cookies, which is gonna be rough for them, and he is killed once again by this Duba wall. Nice passing plays just to stall it out, but a kill found, and it's over. And yeah, I feel like in this game, I mean, from my experience, I've played Dubu as a midfielder before, and I think he poses a unique annoyance to these hasty melee midfielders like Kaya now, because they want to win interactions, but they can't against Dubu. And yeah, it's looking like it's very hard for Din right now to get the ball through the Dubu in the midfield.
Wow, and now the M prop coming out. Both goalies actually getting really solid pickups.
Hey, that's not the goalie.
Wait, shoot, my bad. Crap. Little bit of an autopilot there. But yeah, no, it's actually Alves getting the M prop, but still to similar effect as you'd be doing on the Dubu in between the sticks. It's just now you're even higher up the field. Yo's looking to outlast with some increased cooldowns, and Cookie's actually opting for the OIA here. I think that's like the decent pickup given the circumstances, at least for now. Not a whole lot of damage. It does seem like that when the side of Vast does like to kill, it's typically off edge, irrespective of how staggered you may or may not be. So I think mobility could be proved to be a bit useful, especially with a Now who's kind of slow to get to places. As is Yodasman, evidently is not able to get there on the Atlas. No Luna Dash in sight as Alf slots it in. Pretty much no issue with the strike there, meaning that Voss are picking up where they left off here in set 2, getting a first point on the board.
Yeah, in dominant form right now. Possibly, I mean, the matchup solution might be if we recognize that our Now can't beat the Dubu, maybe our Asha has to. But I think that they haven't really tried to make this decision and change just yet, so they're still playing through this now. It's looking to work right now, but oh, great res by Yodsman. He's locked in on that one, and also finds the strike core on that on the Drek ultimate there, but still. Alex does have his core flip available, so does Alves here, so it's a rough spot for Yodsman regardless. Nice passing plays though coming out from Din, and they are playing through this rune a bit, but the out clear is just, I don't know, it just feels like it's not covered. Double Vanish comes out, nothing too crazy found from it. They do get Yods' flip, but once again, they're working through the top side here, and I just feel like their offensive structure leaves the out clear open for Alex, and he's just going to punish that every time.
Venom Yami and Rookie Cookie dueling here in top lane. The buttons are coming out. Everyone mashing something or other there to get the ball at a top lane. And it does come up the side of Voss. Good stoppage of the ball off of the roll by Alves there to perhaps put Yods in a bit of a mixer. Does so twice in a row, actually. Just about rips the ball quicker than the primary can come out of that Atlas goalie. And Voss, once again, taking a goal in pretty quick clinical fashion. Granted, they won't have a lot of energy heading into the second point, but neither will the side of Blob Gap, admittedly.
Yeah, Blob Gap yet to win a point, or even I don't know if they've gotten Alex's barriers down yet. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like they have. But they have a good chance here. Nice Asher wall coming down. But yeah, Alex holding his second one with his strikes. Whiff strike from him there though means that maybe for the first time his barriers are down. I'm not sure. But still, it's a good chance here for Bob Gap regardless. But that's a strong duo wall coming out with the missile prop. Not much even an Atlas can do about that one. And they're trying to rotate back on the offense here, but double banish comes out and means that the offense is actually all in favor of the side of Vass here. If the ball manages to get back up once more, I think.
Oh, no. Ooh, the flip is wasted by Rookie Cookie. It's just about out of range of Alex, who just stands there menacingly. But okay, there you go. Now he's moving. He does manage to get the ball into Alves. Alves losing a couple of key interactions there, thanks to a good primary stun by Yodes, though, such that the action is now concentrated in the middle of the park. Somehow Din survives, but Alves is continuing to force the issues, getting that now down to half, but not enough to really begin to threaten the kill. Flip comes out quick, brilliant angle, brilliant find, not so brilliant defensive flip from Alex, and there we go. Point on the board at long last for Blob Gap, who will be looking to snowball that into perhaps a couple more.
Yeah, I mean, Alex really had no chance there to save that one. Perfect execution, but he definitely didn't have to flip. Oh, this is a lot of damage. They do have now Atlas, though. I mean, did Root Bash even happen, guys? Like, they're full HP. Double barrier is surely going to come out here. Nice angle off the back from Venom Yami there. And just another flip. And yeah, I mean, 2 flips in front of your net. What can you do? A bit of emoting coming out here from the enemies. I think, to a certain extent, okay, I know if I'm playing against Venom, I know he always loves to go for those angles off the back. So, I'm never going to strike, even if he flips point blank in front of me, because he's always going to shoot it backwards. So, yeah, we'll have to see. It is peak performance here. for the Dubu picked up. Gonna have a bit of scaling with Reptile, but mostly just gonna come from the big HP pool. I think possibly a misplay though, because both of the Fords of Verse get speed, but this now has got Catalyst. The Catalyst is a very strong awakening. We'll have to see. The Atlas also getting the Glass Cannon move speed, and then size going over to this Asher is very nice. And Drake getting Spark is it's nice, but it's not too impactful right now, I'd say.
Alex finding the out, but it is pounced on by Yodes and his compatriots, who are able to get to the ball quicker and quickly rotate it down into Cookies, who's able with some effort to take the first barrier, and the second one falls by a bit of an unforced error, but great pillar up the other end of the field by Venom Yami to even the scales here. Open nets for both teams. Venom Yami is losing a couple key strike wars in the midfield, and Asher has the ball right where she wants it. But still, the defense is held by Alex and Venom Yami. Great play, but perhaps a bit of a wayward strike there. Alex opting to hit the middle clear instead of perhaps playing through Alves, which comes back to bite him. Din in the right place at the right time to take advantage of the strike cooldown and slot it right past that Drakkar in between the sticks. And another goal on the board for Blobgap, but they're going to have to string a couple more of them together than they've been doing in previous sets if they want to walk out of with this game with anything, because Vast does seem to have their number for the time being.
Yeah, that was great suffocation on the offense by the side of Blobgap. It's kind of hard to do with two melee characters, but Din was just covering so much there that it felt like it was. Oh wait, great rest once again by Yodes. He's been finding those all day, and Din gets to preserve his flip, and that's. I mean, it might have just lost in the set had he lost that. Another cheese kill attempt, a banish as well. Not gonna actually place it on both of the enemy forwards there. Just going to opt to move the ball forward is Venom. And I think this glass cannon is actually doing a lot of work in terms of the out clear that I kept saying wasn't covered. Yodes kind of has the move speed to walk up and cover it. And that's a double barrier. I think misplay by both Alex and Venom resulted in that one. Flip comes out, and Flip on the defense also comes out from Alex, as well as a pillar from Venom I saw. But I think the pillar just sent it back into Cookies, unfortunately. So they got the goal and the flip.
And they do have a flip in the pocket of Venom Yami too, so could go from bad to worse here. That's it. Okay, Venom Yami is pushing up, but is not able to find any offense. Does find a ban, though, but no kills or anything of that sort. Still is able to funnel the offense into Doob, though, which is good, but Doob is now dead. Goodbye. Power play in favor of Blobgap, who are looking to do something, but nothing is happening. Nothing ever happens, let alone the barrier being taken. But looking to change that now is Rookie Cookie, but in spite of blowing everything, misses the angle off of the bumper, unfortunately, meaning that that flip was all for naught. Maybe it was more of a first principles offense that needed to happen there. In any case, wow, Ali's holding immaculately in spite of all the buttons in his face, somehow still having two barriers as we approach the cusp of overtime. Cookie's trying to change that state of affairs, but just cannot keep the ball in the red team possession for any prolonged period of time. Alex always just seems to have the out, and it means that we continue on here in this point.
Yeah, Yosman in a rough spot here, but does manage to work the ball out. Rune has a couple less cooldowns than now, so it's winning. But the barrier does drop actually. Not perfect strike layering, I think, from Din and Yodes there. Just meant barrier was able to drop. Din trying to get the ball through, but unfortunately that was a perfect strike shot, I think, by Alex to get the ball in the hands of Alves there. Yeah, fortunately for them, they kept their flip, and Venom's banish is out, but still I'm sure they would have liked to get the goal instead.
Looking to get the goal here, but there's just too many bodies in the line of that flip. Din was looking for the double, but no dice there. Does get one, which is better than none, but still perhaps a little suboptimal, especially now that the scores have been leveled at one gate apiece. Both goalies sitting pretty with flip, though, meaning that we could still be in for a pretty prolonged sequence. Rookie Cookie, able to win a strike war, but not get on the end of it, is now looking to get into that coveted bottom corner, but no dice this time around, but we'll see. Maybe on the second time of asking something happens, but no, it is once again batted away meaning both teams are still vying for some semblance of possession. Worth noting, things might be getting a little scary for you if you're a member of Blobgab, given how many flips may soon be in your face, especially if none are required on defense anytime soon. But what do I know? Alex flipping, I assume necessarily. It looked a little out of strike range, but in any case, does mean the situation does not actually get any safer or any less scary for Blobgab, because Scream Alves has wall and prop wall, mind you, so completely denies the Yode's out clear. Yode's not flipping either, meaning that we're 2-2 and match point for Voss.
Yeah, and I think Bobby they just got to lock in on using these flips wisely. And unfortunately, they used two to not even save the barrier there. I think it's all on Cookies to find the well-placed flip here. Gets the strike around Venom, though. That's a big one to get his flip out. But he can't save that one. Just not enough move speed, not enough range. Yeah, he just didn't have it. And I mean, Vas completely dominant there. I think it was only... was it only the 2 goals that they scored in that set that Blob Gap scored in the whole game? I don't know.
I think so. We'll be vindicated or not by the stats screen here. It does. Okay, there were 3 goals because I think there was a flip from Din.
Oh, yeah.
That was like to Buckhorn or something along those lines. Any case, I'm going to quickly reset my game so I can hopefully commentate not having to watch a 720p Discord stream. But in the meantime, yeah, good win for the side of Voss, showing that they really want this 1 seed by hook or by crook, and now just need to win 1 more game to that effect to make it happen. It's on Aten City, which, perhaps less of a damage-oriented map, which they do tend to like to do, but I think their record on Aten City is pretty solid in the EUSL regular season, if memory serves, so should be no issue, should make for a good second game.
Yeah, I mean, their record on most maps are pretty good. I think Voss definitely have the highest win rate in the league. Probably sitting, I don't know, around 75 would be my guess, something like that, in terms of games. But, yeah, I mean, in this one, yeah, it's just a clinical from Voss. And I think, personally, that they've looked even stronger now that Alex is picking these melee defensive goalies, because he's already such a scary player to get through defensively. When he was playing eject button, it was already hard to score through him. Now he actually has cooldowns to defend as well, and that's a big problem for a lot of teams. So yeah, going into the next game, I think possibly maybe Zal will be coming back, but if not, yeah, Din, Cookies, Yod's gonna have to lock in together, find the adaptation here. I believe that Aten is actually Vass's map pick, so it still might be a hard game for them, knowing that this is their map choice and they kind of got dominated on this one. But at least they will have the choice to maybe get red or blue side, maybe get a strong first pick, maybe get a strong couple picks here. Not sure what their philosophy will be going into this. I know, previously Kai and Estelle were heavily prioritized, but maybe since we've seen both these goalies not want to pick the range, the Kai's prio will drop a decent amount, but yeah, not sure, we'll have to see.
Still always a bit omnipotent on the city, so wait, hold on, is that drafter? That was the drafter from last game that I'm seeing on the UI, right? Okay, so we haven't gotten into character draft for this one as far as I'm aware. Okay, unfortunate.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I feel like Kai could still be a point of contention. Granted, I feel like Venom Yami especially has such a deep pool that who knows what that fella's gonna take. It seems like it's just whatever strikes his fancy at a given moment. What I'm more interested in is an Alps. I wonder if he's gonna keep having fun with this Dubu, or perhaps lock something a little more conventional on an Aten City brawler type shebang. But would be funny to see the Dubu again. We've seen Dubu picked last week kind of randomly in the net for Sloth, and it worked quite well. So maybe this is the year of Dubu. But on a more serious note, yeah, we'll see how the game plans shake up. You're probably going to be a bit more core control oriented, obviously, unless there's some absolutely nasty awakenings.
Yeah, I think, as much as it's a funny pick, I think the Dubu was actually pretty insane in this matchup. Because of course Now's cooldowns are a lot shorter, but her cooldowns do lose to the Dubu secondary and the primary, and of course the wall. So by the time you've lost once to the Dubu and the ball goes to your corner, you have a rune pillar and you can't beat it. And then the next time around, the Dubu's gonna have their rotation back. And Alex is just covering everything else basically. So yeah, as I said, possibly the adaptation that the side of Blob Gap needed to make was to have the Asher taking the interactions onto into the Dubu and try and play it like that. But yeah, I mean, possibly as a, I mean, I'll say it. Yosman is the only thinker on that team, okay? And he's not, he's a muted guy. He's not able to give comms. Possibly that's hindering them in terms of being able to make the adaptation in that game. But maybe they'll be typing away about how to change and improve for this game on Aten. And maybe we'll see a difference in comp. I don't think Din will probably want to play the now again on this map. So maybe we'll see him on his more, more patented like Amy Estelle picks, or even the Kai maybe. But we'll have to see. I'm sure Venom would be happy to play Rune again though.
Probably will get it. I don't know if that's worth blowing a ban on. We are getting into character draft imminently. As far as I'm aware, but there's always a couple surprises up one sleeve here in the EUSL. But yeah, man, I feel like, what was I gonna say? I guess on the bright side, I do not believe that we're in for another 2 hour series here, and I think that's especially thankful for someone finally picking up Aten City. Obviously, Yankees is gone, so one of the open maps was still poached, but I feel like it's definitely a welcome change of pace given what we were seeing. We are seeing the Awakenings come out. It is demo and tempo swing, so nothing necessarily mobile heavy. We could maybe be looking at an Alves Dubu here. I mean, not Alves Dubu. Man, Alves Centauro, just because of the tempo swing value. But I think, yeah, still perhaps a little in flux in terms of what all the picks are going to be, because there's nothing that like screams Auten City there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Blob Gap do have blue side here, so yeah, if the Zen is on the cards, I mean, it could just be Blob Gap to pick it. Cookies can certainly play it. He could also play the Drek, of course. I do think that Asher, I wouldn't call it Cookies' comfort pick. Now, I don't know if maybe he just wants some experience in a competitive setting. As all in all, ultimately, yeah, winning the tiebreaker would be nice, but it's not the end of the world for them in terms of playoffs. Maybe they want to keep their cards a bit close to the chest because that was a surprising Asher pick to me. Especially as I think Jack or Zentaro could have been picked up by him. But we'll have to see. I mean, their first pick, it was Blobgap who actually banned Trek, and then Kai was banned away by Bass. So yeah, maybe there's a Zentaro first pick here. I don't know. I wouldn't be too surprised. But possibly the Estelle is also open that you don't want to give over as well on this map. Yeah, it is just a Zen. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then Bass probably it must be something with Estelle. Estelle plus maybe Alves wants Julie here. Maybe Alex wants Atlas or Dugu, I don't know. But I think Estelle plus one.
Think that's pretty valid prediction. All things considered, Estelle obviously quite evergreen, even if she was brought a little back to earth recently. But yep, there it is. Put the fries in the bag. There's the Estelle, presumably midfield.
Oh no.
Compliment. Maybe it's Estelle goalie. Loki,
Yeah, I
unless
guess
we're
so.
doing double midfield hijinks. But no, my presumption is that it might actually be Alves on the last pick, and it might be Alex Estelle goalie. I don't know. I don't know enough about
No.
much of anything to guess, but that's definitely. Oh, and even then, I don't know if it's a Yod. Yods could be
It's,
either Imee
it's
or
yours on the
Juno.
Juno. I'm
Okay,
pretty sure it should be.
I would assume so. Okay, that's got to be Alves on the Rasmus,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
taking the size and stride. Yeah, okay, and then a little bit of uncertainty about the goalie here, but I assume it's probably Voss Estelle in between the sticks, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think it's most likely to be Alex on the Sistel here. I'm pretty sure he picked it, during his Sheb arc. I'm happy, very much so, that for the first game, we're guaranteed not having two melees against each other. So that's nice to see. I mean, maybe it's Rasmussen to Zen in the net. Hey, anything can happen. But most likely, I think it's going to be a Juno versus a Stell matchup in the goals. Um, I think that usually w- with a now, I think that a ranged goalie is quite nice because it's going to be hard for them to just play the other side if Alex is going to just walk up and cover it. So they kind of have to play through the now. But maybe they'll be able to punish him walking up because it's not the same as if he blinks in on Vice or Amy, right? He has to walk there himself. Maybe he's going to pick the mum boots to help with that. But I do think Strike Shot is a bit better. But on the other side, though, there's a lot of damage in this back line. The Juno does a lot of damage, just passively. Same with Amy, does a lot, just while hitting the ball and enemies, and of course Zentaro doing a lot of damage this patch. And Cookie is definitely a player who's going to be playing for that. Of course, there's Now on the other side for a lot of healing, as well as a goalie who's quite active. And active goalies kind of mean that they draw more abilities towards them, which means you kind of take a bit less damage. Oh, it's Now. What? I've never seen Alex play Now goalie. This is a unique circumstance. Anything could happen right here, guys. I don't know. I'm shocked. I'm actually
I can't
shocked.
say I can say I've seen this either. I guess we're see very open book, I guess. We'll see what happens. Yode's perhaps on a bit more conventional pick, but still is the first to lose a barrier within 8 seconds. Just Auten City things. Din is here to help defend. That was actually a pretty good sequence by Blob Gap until it wasn't. Just one too many cooldowns in their face. They were winning a series of good strike wars against the abilities that came their way. But yeah, ultimately did fall apart quite quickly there, meaning that it is, once again, Voss taking the first point here in game 2.
Yeah, lots of damage came out onto Venom there, but nothing conclusive. And once again, it's the barriers of Yosman that have just dropped rapidly here. Alex gonna hold out for a tiny bit longer, but it is a glitch pop from Din coming out to shut it down as they're trying to stop this attack of
Bang!
Venom, and that's the best way to stop him, just by killing him, I guess. Offense on the bottom side here, trying to work this way through Now, but lots of damage comes out, and he was actually forced to ult, I guess, which meant that the barrier, the goal was just kind of left unattended there.
Wow, okay. Getting a little feisty, Blob Gap. Okay, so we're now at 1 apiece. Little bit of a resurgence here. Still anyone's game. Go figure. At least 7 points left to be scored if we're looking at a sweep. In any case, both people vying for possession. Rookie Cookie caught a bit back, having to defend instead of Dead, who was somewhere or other else. In any case, meant the offense couldn't be pushed in that particular scenario. But on the second time of asking, the tandem of Din and Rookie are able to get things done. Venom Yami's not gone, somehow evading the ult, the Zentaro ult, still holding on to his life, but there's only so much you can do against this devious little child, and now does find the kill. Power play in favor of Blob Gap, but the angle is missed. That means that Venom Yami's going to be back on the board. At least it's not that bad. The side of Blob Gap still has their barrier, thanks to a good blob from Yodes to save it on the back pass, but still, yeah, we're heading to overtime. Neither team able to find a breakthrough just yet.
Yeah, Din working wonders on the bottom side, but was just not punished. And
Okay,
that was not the strike. And I guess he just glitch popped trying to recover from it. A nice back pass there, just cutting things out. But he's actually killed. He's just taking so much damage while putting the ball forward. And unfortunately, Yodes, I think, walked into that stun. Maybe wasn't expecting to be stunned. It didn't flip. Maybe he just wanted to not waste it with his midfielder gone. But yeah, I mean, there was just so much chip that came out on Din while he was trying to attack, and that's what Vast are really good at. They just do a lot of damage.
Ooh, wow, no damage needed to take that barrier, though. Great call out on the cross clear by Alves. An equally good save by Alex there to somehow hold barrier. Hello? This might be the method. Now Dorito able to ensure...
Oh.
Whatever, man. Anyways, okay, Alex, hoping to keep his head held high after that one, is able to outlast the glitch pop, which is good interplay between Yoz and Din there to ensure that they're able to work the ball through into the midfield, but Rookie Cookie's not able to get on the end of anything. Instead is opting to kill Venom Yami and take the orb, looking to maybe just capitalize on a positional advantage that could be established through some good killing. But it's actually, I think, Din that's got to be a bit cognizant of his life, especially now he's been brought even closer to Stagger, and that was not quite cognizant enough. It eats a flip from Venom Yami, but things aren't quite open and shut here. The flip asking a couple difficult questions of Alex, who also has to blow his own flip in so doing. And we are back to 3v3, back to overtime, unless Yodes gets called out hella here, but
Oh,
no, he holds.
wow. I mean, there was so much on the screen. That was not an easy save that Yost was able to get. But that was a rather easy one for Alex there. And there's just so much pressure while they're trying to score. Great one though. Beam was scary for Yodes, but he managed to hold it. And now they need to convert ASAP here. But the strike is found actually through the Zen primary, and Alex is going to be given time to recover here. I think.
What?
Oh, but they just, I don't know, they just expected Alex to be able to reach it. I don't think he was able to, and Venom was slightly out of position. Tried to primary it, but yeah, I mean, eventually, Blobgap got it done.
Man, 3 strikes, you're out. People are swinging and missing all over the place. Both teams still vying for the first set win.
Ooh.
It's 2 apiece here. No barriers taken just yet, but Venom Yami in a really scary situation, especially as Yodes
Oh.
is not quite up to flip. But on the other side of the field, it is actually Alex, which is the first to use barrier. No flip from Yodes, perhaps hanging on to it for this situation. And there you go, excellent foresight to make the save there. The piercing shot is not quite enough to work it through the double defense of Yodes and Din, and we are still alive here in this point. But Yodes is looking to be in a bit of a precarious spot. No dodge. All it'll take is like 1 primary out of Venom Yami to seal the deal. But up the other side of the field, still looking not like an open and shut case. Alex encroaching towards flip, though, meaning I think he's the better of the 2 goalies if this point were to go to OT. Good attempt on the kill onto Alves, but nothing
Oh.
found. Great reactive save by Alex after blowing flip, mind you, but it does mean that perhaps both goalies are lacking a bit of defensive capacity. Heading into OT, the core speed will get nutty, as will the damage, but no kills coming out just yet. Venom Yami lives somehow by the skin of his teeth. It might actually get the goal here, but is not able to find the right strike at the right time. Yodes playing conservatively, hugging his goal line, able to reposition in time to get those good defenses. And Alves is kind of just being kept and contained in and around the midfield, is not able to get the flip off just yet, is being very patient, knowing it'll take something special to beat Yodes, but that situation could be beckoning now. It's gotta be. Yodes, do something. Oh, not quite that good. Conversion by Alves, and there we go. First set, a long drawn-out Auten City set, goes the way of Voss. Good conversion by Alves, who gets MVP here.
Yeah, I think honestly, the inexperience of the forwards of Blobgap into this now matchup was just on display because they just both lost. They flipped and then they're like, "Oh, now just press primary in my face. What do I do?" Right? And that's just always gonna happen. That's what she wants to do. And they need an adaptation to that because they blew 2 flips in that same vein. I mean, maybe they need to walk into the primary and then strike after. Maybe they need their teammate to walk into it, something. But yeah, they can't lose that over and over. Anyway, in terms of draft, I do think that the side of Blobgap have a crazy draft here, right? I mean, more size on Rasmus is really good. So is the Spark scaling, especially since Fast won this first set. But Rapid Fire on Juno, extra special on the Zentara here, and Foth onto this Amy is a really strong draft.
Certainly, and it's looking to be being put to good effect, all things considered. They do take the barrier and are looking to be the more threatening of the 2 teams beginning here in the set, but Venom Yami in a good position to keep the offense up on the other side of the pitch. And now Alice versus Yodes in a 1v1, an ever scary situation, forcing Yodes into a tricky out clear, which is capitalized on brilliantly by Venom Yami. He's also looking poised to take a kill here. Din Far somehow surviving. I mean, good stuff. Able to hold on to the flip. Everyone on the field bar Alex has a flip. This, okay, that's good. I want to point out that
Oh.
I want to point out that neither flip was necessary to defend that Venom Yami core flip from either Din Far or Yodes there, and they both blow it. And then they do that, but that's not to mention the perhaps the inefficient flipping coming out from the other side. So now it's actually Alex left as the last man standing with any sort of energy. What a sequence, but you know, can't win them all.
Yeah, Alex certainly having the most composure on the field here. He's been here before, but maybe he hasn't been there before, and a complete checkmate there. The recovery drone of Alves is popped there by Rookie Cookie as Yodes. That's an unfortunate strike. I think he wanted to play it there before, but then tried to adapt and change it to bottom, but maybe can like input a different
Wow.
direction for the strike. Nice dash punch found by Din there, but they've been in these power play situations before, and it was a struggle for them, especially now that Alex has his ultimate. Doesn't quite use it to great effect, but still, they're just not getting the ball through the midfield here.
It's tricky. This is Stella's everywhere all the time, all at once. I mean, wow. Case in point, Venom Yami always seemingly having something to do, something. It is now set point for Voss. They are in the driver's seat of this series. Yodes and friends will have to respond, find something to counteract whatever's been going on here in this series. It just seems so tricky for them to convert into score. Rookie Cookie's got to mix up the game plan, especially when you've got this Rasmus doing incredible things. He's dead now, granted, but even then, still power play in favor of Blobgap. Din looking to encroach with this flip. Has to respect wall, though. Venom does have flip. That would be a really weird way to concede, but luckily Yodes does have the dash and is continuing to farm the corner, and that was a sequence. I'll tell you that much. Rookie Cookie just being a strategic decoy, I guess, and Alex not able to react in time with the strike shot. So there we go. Blobgap did, in fact, do something different and got rewarded for it. And Alves is AFK. That's cool.
Here we are again. Yeah, in that previous point, I mean, Din finding a supreme value with his flip after kind of wasting the last one he had, right? Finding the kill and the goal there. And as you said, Din Cookies there serving as a fake that meant Alex was unable to react in time with his strike shot. All these dashes coming out to the top side. Great strike by Din. Alex certainly expected him to go to the bottom side, but Din had higher plans there for the offense. They still need to get their way out of the defensive spot, and it's going to be certainly easier with this annoying Estelle off the field here. Alex holding an aggressive line here, has flipped to his name, gonna have to spend it there. Yodes with a nice blink, trying to mount the offensive pressure so much in the corner, but Alex still just finds the out clear there and gives Venom enough time to respawn. Now, once again, I'll say this with caution, all of the members of Blobgap have their flip. They just need to not waste them this time.
That's looking to be a tall task. Granted, I that felt necessary. I think Yodes, I can excuse that one. I can't excuse that one, but you know, whatever.
Okay.
At least okay. So we're 2 for 3 in terms of efficient flipping there, as far as I'm concerned. Does mean that maybe this offense will be a little harder to push now that there's no energy on the board for the side of Blobgap, and conversely, there is a big fat Rasmus with a big fat flip, and he lets that thing rip and gets the kill. Granted, Yodes is holding for his life, still can't clear his way out of that particular paper bag, but is able to at least withstand the Rasmus primary and buy enough time for Cookies to get back into the fray. Interplay between Cookies and Cookie and Din Far there. And wow, that could be a goal, but not quite yet. We persist. We continue. Venom Yami threatening with flip. I was going to say Yode's trying to coax him into the corner to make that flip a little less dangerous, but really, the flip was never going to be dangerous to begin with because it never connected with the core. And now, Rookie, Cookie, and Din looking to encroach into the arc, but it's just not happening. They just cannot find the conversion just yet, or even a sustained pressure onto Alex, who's able to just bat these away with strikes.
Yeah, I mean, Din's done that twice to Venom in the game where he plays the ball back, but wow, that was an interesting bounce. But yeah, I thought we would go more down, but yeah, I was just on the top side getting it through, and it just seems to be troubles here for Blobgap. They can't get it through, and Alex is super just composed on the defense always. Had the primary for that flip that Cookies attempted, and once again, Cookies had no answer for it, just in his face blocking him. So yeah, I mean there just has to be adaptation. I feel like Blobgap aren't learning from what's going on in the game, but still they're never punished. I mean they got team player on Arton, they got Catalyst on Zen, and they have Deadeye. Now, of course, the enemy team's draft is very strong too. Glass Cannon among Titans when you already have the demo, so you're basically normal size now. The 1-2 punch is okay, but yeah, I mean, Blobgap, hey, the draft is rewarding you. You gotta not let it slip out of your fingers, guys.
Oh, wow, but ball slips right between Yodes' fingers. Granted, neither of the hit stun primaries being applied by the tandem forward duo of Voss are able to shove it past this Juno in the open net. Good recuperation there by Yodes to just about knock it out and confirm it with the slime. And up the other end of the field, a great conversion off of the Imi turret means that the situation's gotten a little bit more manageable for the side of Blob Gap, but this could be hairy. There goes Yodsman, perhaps not anticipating that he'd die there, opting not to blink, but still Zentaro in net gets it done for the time being, but he just runs away from the core. And there we go. Alves able to capitalize on the positional breakdown there and just tap it top corner and shirt with the primary, and they are now 2 points away from locking the first seed heading into playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think didn't recognize there that he did. It's something that actually it was cookies that goalies kind of do where they recognize if you go topside, I can't really do anything, so I'm gonna fake going there in the hopes that you try and mind game me and go bottom, and I was just didn't fall for it. But they do have a great push here. They found that kill on Venom early on and found the flip and the goal there. But yeah, I mean, they need something more concrete and consistent than those cheese kills to be able to actually win the set and win the game. Oh, almost.
I was pressing S for fun to kill time, and then it bugged my game, and now everyone's on 0 health on my screen. But in any case, that
I
notwithstanding,
think once they get hit, they'll recover.
I think that's what's happening. Yeah, but in any case, okay, they have taken the barrier. That's pretty cool. Yodes, flip, please. Thank you. Good. W, able to hold his barrier and play the ball
Alex
into Rookie Cookie, but is not able to secure it. They need to get this conversion here. Now they look to be doing so, but the ult goes backwards. The ult goes backwards. That means that the Voss still have life in this point, and it's just gonna go from bad to worse. Alves getting in the mixer and able to my Rookie Cookie. Oh, well, hello, beast. That was crazy. Yeah, get out of here, Venom. Get lost. Get out of dodge. Good stuff by Rookie Cookie. Great awareness with the flip there to turn the tide. A tempo reverso with tempo swing. I was gonna say no tempo swing needed, but he picked it up. But there we go. Blob Gap are showing something a little different here in this third set. It looks to be working out for him.
Yeah, I think that was Cookies' first justified emote of the series, I'll say it. And they're continuing the strong stride. As you mentioned, a kill, another one popping the recovery drone there. Not that it super matters. Yoda's aptly cautious here, as he should be, into this flip of Alex. It is popped now, though, and to the avail of, keeping the play on for longer. Cookies, though, once again, I mean, this guy has infinite flips. He just flipped to kill Venom, 3 seconds ago, guys. I mean, Catalyst, rather ridiculous on Zentaro, which is what we're seeing right now. And if the ball moves up, right now, I mean, Alex has no primary here, but can the ball get into his hands? Can he shoot it? They're just able to react just in time, and now within off the field. I mean, Yodsman has to hold. He gets the flip. Is there an angle? There is! And he finds it.
Holy crap.
Wow. Nicely done.
Incredibly played by Yodes there. Just YOLO swagging it on the power play, somehow finding a crazy angle to top corner in between the Dorito and the 3 forwards, trying to snub him out. And we are seeing Zentaro with explosive entrance. Granted, that means there will probably be some sparking happen. No, Spark doesn't get to Venom Yami here, realistically. But yeah, maybe it... No, it probably doesn't.
No.
Yeah,
with hot shot out, yeah. Yeah, since the hot shot, I don't know if Yodes would have traded hot shot for it. I think probably Alex. I don't know. I think he could have left the hot shot and said either you take it or Arastel takes it, or we get the spark, right? Outside of that, classic brawler awakening the bulk up here. But a lot more damage. I mean, look at Din's build in terms of doing damage, as well as, of course, I mean, Cookie's explosive entrance. For some Zen players, just his best awakening in the game, right? I think probably it's Catalyst just because of the numbers on it. It's just a bit too strong, but the damage and the dash is so so potent. But speaking of potent, the offense of Bass just cooking the barrier there. Cookie's trying to work on the bottom side. Great punishing dashes there. And they've got the range now. They've got the damage onto Venom as well. It's a bit scary for him here. And a great strike by Yozman is able to get the ball into the hands of a midfielder here. They're trying to play the ball away from Cookies, who once again has flipped so soon into the round. And they find a kill and a goal, which is crucial because Alex was like 2.5 bars of energy, I'm pretty sure. So that's basically a flip off the board.
Wow, I'm really liking this turnaround from Blobgap. It seems like the scaling has been a lot more conducive to how they like to set up and play. I mean, they're just killing. They're just killing, put plain and simple, and that seems to be the win con for them at this point in time. Granted, they're still going to have to take care of the fundamentals when they're not in possession. Yode's losing his barrier, sure, but should be able to hold, I'd reckon. But Venom, looking to change things, does have the flip, and Yost does not flip. Once again, he calls his shot, trusts his ability to weather that storm with just strike at the expense of the goal, evidently. But I guess he still has flip.
I think maybe he would have flipped if the hook hadn't hit him. It was a bit slow, but you have to consider, I mean, Yost plays from Turkey, right? He's got, I think they're on Frankfurt servers. He's on around 60 ping. I think it might matter, but Jesus Christ. I mean, is energy weak? Our flips weak? That's just... They just bombed them. Like, what's the counterplay? There's none. The counterplay was don't let the guy get catalyst, but it's too late for that at this point.
Yeah, they had to put this series to bed in 3. As far as I'm concerned, it had to be a 3-0. It's just, oh man, I mean, I don't want to be too deterministic, but it's really looking blob gap at this point. Yodes still has his flip, could once again hit another crazy play should he choose to do so. The shove is not on somehow, in spite of all the buttons and IME turrets, and it's still, what the hell, man? Okay, crazy holds by Alex and friends. They're literally all inside of the goal arc. I guess it's easy to defend when you have a huge Raz miss. Inadvertently, I think Din is able to survive there by dashing out. Oh, there goes Alex, goodbye. I don't even know what got him. Something did, but okay, Al's stalling for time and finding the time he needed. Alex is about to be back, will be back by the time this ball gets to the half-field line. But okay, just as quick as normalcy was reestablished, the power play goes right back at you. This time, it's Venom Yami to go sit 13 seconds in the sin bin. And maybe that could prove pivotal, but the conversion is once again lacking from rookie Cookie and Din, who look to just be struggling to find any sort of sustained connectivity between the two of them. But a great pass by Din in that particular instance to get it. It's a rookie Cookie. Okay, that took a couple seconds on my life. Thank God I rubbed minoxidil on my head this morning. There's hair falling out of my head in real time. Crazy game. But okay, still, there is not... Someone score, please. But okay, I'm just going to pass it at this point, man.
Yeah, Flip is wasted by Din, but of course, Cookies with the Catalyst has his available to him. They don't want the ball to get into his face, especially since it's now just popped the primary. Great strike ball by Din, puts Cookies in a winning situation, and the passive primary there. There's just no counterplay to Flip passive primary, by the way, as a goalie. You have to strike, but like, you just react to the passive strike, and then the core is stopped. What's the counterplay? And then you're stunned. So yeah, this Catalyst is going crazy. I mean, if Venom doesn't pick fire up over the spark here, I mean, 1,000 years of whippings for this guy. But he's waiting. Please, Venom. Oh no. Cookies, pick fire up. Okay. I mean, guys, they just got Orb Dancer and Fire Up. Are we serious? Like, we got Monkey. Yay. Look at their awakenings.
I mean, I guess at least Rasmus is big, guys, and now has big Doritos. Hooray! But yeah, I think I'm gonna call my shot here and say I think this is Blobgap's game to lose at this point. They did all the hard work. They put in the pain and suffering required to hang with Voss for 3 sets, and now they are scaling. And provided that their execution does not begin to slouch, I think they have the tools on paper to land this particular plane. I mean, what the hell is even that, bro? What the hell is even that? Oh, goodness gracious. And now Cookie's opting to hold his own flip as the shove is slowly being set up. He ran away from the core, but he got there in the second time of asking. W dash. And now it's just 2 more goals. Just 2 more goals, Blobgap.
My God. I mean, Yeah, and Din hasn't even scaled his orb dancer, by the way. Like, the longer this goes, the worse it's gonna get, because Din's gonna be Mark 12, by the way. And, wow, I mean, I don't know how that didn't kill. Maybe there was another source of knockback that stopped him, but Din has crazy knockback, so maybe the Deadeye didn't proc. But anyway, Alves is low. He still has recovery drone, and is actually looking for damage onto Cookies here, who just got flipped, and is now fired up as hell. And Din's certainly gonna make use of that. Gonna dodge away from all that knockback, but gonna pop his flip as well. And I mean, Amy Zen just farming infinite energy, just the characters for it, I guess. But it's actually Alex's flip, and flip from Alves as well. That's 2 flips out from both sides, but it's the side of us winning, so, you know, they're not out of it just yet. And Din still hasn't been stacking his orbs. Hey, get to eating, guy. Get to eating, okay?
Yeah, he was kind of engaged in like a Sisyphusian endeavor there in bot plane, just continually trying to shove it through Alex to no avail. Should probably have spent that time munching orbs, but here we go. 6 more of them on the field. Go, Dinfar, go. Oh, but yeah, he got one of them. But maybe at the expense of a bit of positional advantage there. Oh, this could get nasty. Venom Yami almost hitting a cool confirm there, but luckily Yodes is quick enough to get that thing out of dodge. But there's so many hitboxes, so many buttons, so many redirection and misdirection and chaining directions up the core. There goes Alps, but the recovery drone saves his rear quarters in this particular instance, but now cannot afford to have that luxury anymore, and the set will not be revived any longer. That said, he's looking to threaten here in the corner. He's so massive. He just needs to get his grubby little paws on the core one time, and things could get hairy. Gets a good confirm on the primary. Equally good is the dodge from Yodes to hold the corner offense. Is admittedly where I think Rasmus wants a little more than this Juno, but there's nowhere else you can go. Venom doing an immaculate jump to cut the out clear, and there we go. A bit of a misdirection from Alves. Does break Yodes' ankles. Yodes is dead, but Din has flip. Oh, Din has... Okay, whatever. Din is dead. That is your comeuppance. And now it is a 3v1 for Rookie Cookie, and Brawler cannot get it done in net. And thank God I'm not a betting man, because now Vass is looking to be in the driver's seat with 2 flips on Hot City. Final point.
Yeah, they got some dying one, because, hey, not much changed, okay? I mean, they got some damage, for sure. All their awakenings do damage, but I don't think it's to the extent that they should be dying right now, especially since they can certainly fight back if you look at these builds. I know Venom is certainly wanting a kill onto Cookies, as is Cookies onto him right now. And I was looking for one on Cookies too. The barrier drops, and 1 point away here. Cookies, you don't want to end this point without having flipped. I mean, that's a good one to live, and we get the fire up procced, which is really nice to get for some survivability as well. And Din gonna use his as well. Actually gets the barrier here, and they're trying to work their way, but still not dropping just yet. Cookies, I don't think he has anything left here. Din has maybe no life left. Gonna get the orb dancer speed though, and another rotation of orbs is spawning here for him. But maybe they're just not enough. They're not getting on the field for him. He gets the second one there, and Cookies has flip again. How? What is this awakening? That is disgusting.
I want to point out that Din, he glitch popped Venom Yami to keep Venom Yami away from the orb, such that he could grab the orb and get the speed boost. So there we go. Definitely brilliant orb dancer gameplay right there. Chills. But man, ball is right where Alice wanted. This could be curtains. You got a big Rasmus open net with flip. Only way to really assuage this situation is to get him off the map or just get the ball through the gate. But it cannot happen. It does happen. It does happen. Something is happening. Okay, here we go. Open net for both goalies. Final point set 5.5. Everyone has flip. There's so many flips on the board right now. Someone just has to let one rip, and there is one from Alves. I think that's an okay trade, all things considered. Yodes is flip. What the hell? Dude, is flip weak. All good, whatever. Okay, and that means that Voss are indeed your seed 1 heading into EUSL playoffs. What a crazy set. Man, that was a game of many twists and turns. It's not every day you get a 28-minute Otten City game. I thought that Blobcap had all the cards to get that done at the end of the day, but it was just a couple really unfortunate mis-executions there at the death there. And I guess on the other side of that coin, immaculate killing play by the side of Voss to establish that power play that ultimately got them the win there. Man, this was an all things insane day of matches between the 2 series we've seen today. My gosh.
Yeah, I mean the only like non-bangers were the first fast game was kind of a sweep, and the final lockdown cards game on night market wasn't too close either. But yeah, this one, I mean that's a rough loss in all honesty. Blob Gap, yeah, as you said, they did all the work. They clawed their way back in the final set. They just collapsed, two of them dead, and I think looking at their draft, they just should have won. Like I guess in the final set. Orb Dancer, you know, it takes some time to scale it up to its full potential, and it was very hard for him to, you know, as a midfielder, you can't exactly abandon all priorities to just get orbs. I think in recent history, like the priority of role wise of who gets Orb Dancer has kind of changed. Like it's always been good on goalie, but I don't know. People are picking it way more on brawler now, and I think we kind of saw in that game that Din couldn't he just can't go and just get orbs and say team like just cover everything, you know. But yeah, I just felt like they were dying in that final set a bit too much, and especially in that final point, you can't both just be dying when it matters most there. So well played to Vast. They secure the first seed. They're gonna be able to choose who to play between lockdown and wildcards here. I'm curious who they're going to pick because, as I've mentioned, recently they've lost a couple times to wildcards in competitive games, but they, you know, Lockdown has also beaten them before, so we'll have to see. I think it's not night and day and very clear who they're going to pick, so that's something exciting to come up.
I think another thing worth noting is there were only 2 series today, and this is a 3.5 hour stream. I think that should tell you that do not miss EUSL round 1 of playoffs next week. Every single team is capable of clawing victory from the jaws of defeat. These are going to be some good games, and I would advise you all to be there to watch them live. Really exciting stuff, and thank you for joining us here for these playoffs here on this fine Saturday afternoon, perhaps maybe a bit longer than some of you would have anticipated, but man, what a good series. So yeah, catch y'all next week as our Wait, are we doing
Catch
something?
us,
Something important?
catch us tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh, right,
EUSC finals.
EUSC. See if we can see an upset. We do have an EUSA team squaring off against, who are they playing again? I low-key forgot.
Wildcards.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that's low-key a couple
Hot
of
Tofu
okay.
Wildcards.
That would not have been on my bingo card for the USC finals. But yeah, Hot Tofu Wildcards, do not miss that either, provided that you're able to see. We have a lot of good European strikers action. But in any case, I think that is curtains for us tonight, this evening. So catch y'all around. Thank you for watching and see you on the flip side. GG's all.